lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday temperatures already in the 90s, highs today mid to upper 90s, with the humidity making it feel like 104 to 109. A heat advisory the reason for a WRAL weather alert day, and the chance for a few hit or miss storms this evening. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock, check of your money. Dow Jones down 146 points to 44,259.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Today is a big day for a few reasons. In a weird way, football season starts today because Big 12 Media Days are going on. So we'll celebrate it.
Yay, Big 12.
It's another day where we will qualify a finalist in our Win Your Weight and Meat competition. We'll talk about it throughout the show. And a lot of local coaches decided today would be the day where they're going to explain some things, and that's just a little bit of a tease heading into the Big 3 at 3. First of all, this isn't coming from a local coach, but it is something that I think requires some explanation.
Number 1.
We may have found a clue to the future of college sports. And it's hidden in the settlement between Florida State and Clemson and the ACC. Came up last month. The Athletic did the digging. And there are numbers about like how much it's going to cost to exit, right? That's what it was all about. Can you leave the ACC? How much would it cost? There's all of that. But hidden in there is a little eensy-weensy, teeny-weeny little addendum that makes everything much more interesting, and it is about a Super League. Officially, according to The Athletic, in the legalese of the contract, it is called an option of limited withdrawal. What that means is if at least 6 members of the ACC want to leave in just one sport, but it has to be the same sport amongst the 6 of them, to join a single sport league, conference, or other association alongside those other schools and other schools from other conferences. In that case, their exit fee drops to either $75 million or 50% of the current withdrawal figure, whichever is greater. The current withdrawal figure, if you are asking, after the fiscal year of 2025-2026, it would be $165 million. So 50% of that to start, and it goes down. All you have to know is, all I'm taking from this is, Somebody put it in the contract. Somebody asked to have it in the contract. In practice, again, according to The Athletic, what this clause would allow is, say, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, and NC State. And they need one more we'll call Louisville. And maybe even a couple others. Wanted to leave in just football to join a super league, say a 60-team super league or a 36-team super league. That could happen while everybody still remains ACC members in basketball, baseball, and every other sport. So essentially, if you want to choose to be Notre Dame in relation to the ACC, as long as you pay $75 million or 50% of the current withdrawal figure and leave to join a single sport league, conference, or other association, aka a super league, that's cool. People are preparing for the Super League. And I'll explain why later. I don't hate it. I think we're all going to resist change to a degree. I don't hate it. I don't hate it for the future of the ACC. Again, I'll explain why in about 10 minutes right here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. But at the moment, we need to get to number 2 in the Big 3.
Number 2.
Rod Brind'Amour. He's making the rounds, as a lot of coaches and GMs do, as the dust settles in free agency, to explain what they saw, why they did what they did, how excited they are to play with their new toys. Rod spoke with NHL.com. He was actually on our network earlier today with Adam Gold. We have a few clips we'd like to play for you, including this one. Rod was asked about Nikolai Ehlers, one of their big signings. Actually, their big free agency signing, I'll call it that, because Miller, obviously a trade target. Their big free agency signing, Nikolai Ehlers, and his potential to play alongside Sebastian Aho.
Obviously, where we would try to start him. I mean, that's one of the reasons bringing him in, I think, is to see if we can have a connect there with Seabass, and obviously we got some good options too. With other guys, but I think that's be the starting point, and we'll see where it all goes. Obviously, I think he can help too on the special areas of the game, right? Like the power plays and the 4-on-4s, and we get into overtimes. Those are real key parts of the game, certainly in the regular season, and that's part of his skill set. So we're excited to get him in the mix, and a lot of potential there.
The beauty of having so many interchangeable players, and interchangeable not in quality, but just versatile is probably the better word. So many versatile players on the Canes is you can make a lot of different lines work. But Ehlers alongside Aho makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis, give me that.
It makes the selfishness that I'm asking for from Aho, with the speed of Ehlers, I think they can really complement each other, set each other up nicely. And Jarvis is going to Jarvis, right? Jarvis is one of those versatile guys. I think he can play with darn near any line, and it would work out fine. Obviously, you put him with the attention magnets of Aho and Ehlers, he'll take advantage of that nicely. Brind'Amour was also asked about Keandre Miller, their other big acquisition, as I mentioned, coming through trade. And I don't know if I was expecting this. I knew there would be, there's two sides of every debate, 3 sides, 5 sides sometimes. But once the Miller signing happened, I wasn't expecting such like a knockdown, drag-out battle between those that call Miller physical and those that scream he is absolutely not physical. And part of it is Ranger fans, but part of it is not just Ranger fans. So Rod Brind'Amour was asked about that, not the arguments, but about getting Miller adjusted and maybe playing a little bit more physical. So here's Rod's answer to that one.
First thing you're doing is bringing him in and make sure he's comfortable and play his game, and then now can we add, right? Can we make you even better player? So that's kind of the other stuff that you're talking about. If that's not part of his game naturally, can we get that out of him or add that to his repertoire? I mean, that's what it's all about with every player essentially. So it's I think a great move for our organization, and like I said, I mean, obviously lot to be remains to be seen, but pretty good steps by management.
The bet, and we keep hearing that term with Miller, right? They are betting on him doing something. I'd like to think of it as, if he just does the things he does well, really well, you're good. And then every other thing you try to add on is the gravy, right? That's the extra value. If Miller is just a rangy, very, very good skating defenseman in your top 4 for the next, almost a decade, if he's quote-unquote just that's a good move. If on top of that, you get him to be a little bit more physical, you get him to be a little bit more assignment conscious, you get him to improve and maybe score a little bit more. Like if he does that, now it's all gravy. You're just talking about extra good. That's number 2. The big 3 at 3 wraps up with number 3.
Number 3.
Paulo Banchero got paid. Now it's a massive contract extension for Paulo Banchero, former Duke one and done. And there are certain, that ends with a player option, which is the first time that's happened for a player getting an extension off their rookie deal since, I believe, Luka and Trae Young. So he used the leverage of playing so darn well early in his career to get a great contract. But that's not what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is when you add Banchero's 5-year, $240 million contract. Goodness gracious. That pushes. I did all the back of the napkin math. So there's some rounding here, so give or take a couple million.
Just a couple million. That's
$1 million here, $1 million there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. Right now there are 26 players. I may have missed one, but I think I combed pretty good. 26 players in the NBA from Duke on contract. Actually, correction. 24. There are 26, but 2 are free agents that I'm counting: Marvin Bagley, Seth Curry. If they want to keep playing, they will.
Yeah.
So 26 players, including those 2. On their current contracts, so getting goose eggs for Bagley and Curry there. On their current contracts, they are they will make on their current contracts $1,515 million.
What? I'm sorry, you said B, like billion?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Say that number one more time for the people in the back.
That's not including the rookies, by the way.
Okay.
You throw the rookies in there, you throw Flagg, you throw Knipple, you throw Malawash, you throw Sion James, you throw Proctor in there. $1,670 million on their current contracts.
Bruh.
Career earnings, that again, obviously rookies are throwing goose eggs into this one. Their career earnings to this point, money that has already been paid, $1,457,800,000. There's a lot of talk about, you can go here and make another $200,000 in NIL. Oh, if you go there, you can get another $500,000 over 4 years. Duke's doing a pretty good job getting guys to second contracts in the NBA. And second contracts is where a lot of that money is made. And even if they're not stars, right? We can all talk about Banchero getting the huge money or Tatum getting a 5-year, $314 million deal. But I don't know if enough people talk about Wendell Carter, 3-year, $59 million deal currently. Something like even 10 years into the league, Tyus Jones still making $7 million a year. His little brother Trey Jones on a 3-year, $24 million deal. By the end of that deal, the two will combine for $100 million. Tyus already making 64 in his career. Brandon Ingram gets forgotten. He's made 190. He's due on his current contract 120.
That's crazy.
How about R.J. Barrett? Smooth 85 in career earnings, 107 on his current contract. These guys are making money.
What's Cam Reddish up to these days?
He hasn't played in a couple. I thought about adding him in, but he's again, like, that's good money for Cam Reddish, and he's not even included in this. Grayson Allen, 4 years, $70 million contract currently. $44 million in career earnings. Some guys that I'm sure you've forgotten about. Luke Kennard has made $66 million, just signed with the Hawks for $11 million on a 1-year contract this year.
Oh, Luke Kennard.
Marvin Bagley, he's a free agent right now. You know how much money he's cashed? $73 million.
Yeah, Cam Reddish could easily sign with somebody. He just played this last season with the Lakers.
There you go. It's so much money. And there's a lot of guys on rookie contracts, Derrick Lively, Jared McCain. It's money to be made by boosting your NBA stock at Duke. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That ACC Super League out clause for the ACC, meaning if a team wants to leave just football to go join a Super League, it's in the path has been drawn. Why does it matter? Why is it important? And why do I think it could be good for the ACC? Stick around.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy energy-smart features for year-round comfort and savings. Stop by, tour our fully furnished models, or visit manufacturedhomeoffers.com and browse limited-time deals. But don't wait. The Sign and Save sales event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
The shovel pass to Hampton. Wide open. 30, 20, 10. Touchdown Tar Heels.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Everybody and their best friend and their best friend's best friend has an opinion on what the future of college sports will be like. Some think it's already ruined. NIL, transfer portal. It's donezo. It's not what it once was. Some think every Olympic sport, gone. Everyone has an opinion. Some are doomsday. Some are awesome. Some are, it's going to be so great. You know what? I love those conversations, first of all. And sitting around a table. What about this? The what ifs? It's great. We can do it all day. But when we get an actual clue about what the future of college sports might look like, I think that's more meaningful. And a lot of times, court cases are where the truth comes out, right? A lot of times we find out like how much, and I don't even know if we say we found out, but like the tabloids find out how much a celebrity is actually making or actually worth when like a divorce happens and they have to list everything. Well, the ACC and Florida State and Clemson, ACC on one side, Florida State, Clemson on the other side, went to court. They did a lot of suing each other in a bunch of different states. And because of that, we've gotten a clue about what the future of college sports might look like. First of all, in a vacuum, I don't think this settlement was good for the ACC, right? Because the cost for schools to leave the conference appears to have gone down significantly. There was an opinion, there was an estimate, even Florida State was estimating publicly that it would cost them over $500 million to leave the ACC. Under the settlement, the cost to leave after the 2025-2026 fiscal year is $165 million. and from that point on, drops by $18 million annually until the 2030-2031 year, in which case it will rest at $75 million through the end of the grant of rights at 2036. That to say, if Clemson and Florida State want to leave right now, by the end of the 2025-2026 fiscal year, they only need to raise $165 million, not the $600 or $700 million that was estimated. But that's not the most interesting part of this settlement. The detail that may have been overlooked by many, The Athletic actually pointed a spotlight on, and I hat tip to them for doing so. There is an option, officially called an option of limited withdrawal, which means if at least 6 members of the ACC want to leave in just one sport, the same sport amongst them, but in just one sport, to join a single sport league, conference, or other association alongside other schools, their withdrawal fee is significantly lower. It drops immediately to the $75 million that doesn't hit for the full until 2031, or 50% of the current withdrawal figure, whichever is greater. Basically what that means is, to put it in I think, more easy to digest terms, if 6 schools got together and wanted to leave, take just their football team and go to a football-only super league, meanwhile stay in the ACC and all other sports, basketball, women's basketball, baseball, on and on and on, they could do that for a significantly less costly exit fee than if they were to remove themselves entirely from the ACC. This is in preparation for a football super league, is my immediate read on it. This is in preparation for the biggest, baddest football brands in the country saying, why do we still answer to the NCAA when we are more valuable, when we bring in more money, when our needs and wants are not anywhere close to the same needs and wants of a men's and women's soccer team? So why are we all under the same umbrella? Why don't we go govern for ourselves? In the same way that, like, the NFL owners are the ones paying the commissioner's salary, they would go figure out their own structure and have their own super league for football only and leave the NCAA to handle the rest. And the ACC has made it a possibility that teams can do that for the low price of $75 million or 50% of the current withdrawal fee, whichever is greater, which may not seem low, but it is. I promise you it is. Especially when you think of how much gosh darn money a football super league would make.
I would imagine the timing of it would fall in line, especially when you get to that $75 million mark, which is about 5 years from now, roughly. That's roughly in line of when the SEC and Big Ten's media rights come up, which also might be a possibility where they unbundle, sell football separately, or go football super league, and then you can just take this football super conference that's separate from the NCAA and sell it like the NFL sells its TV rights. Do the exact same thing. And then you take all that money that you generate from football, and there you revenue share with just football. Then the money you take from everything else that's still ACC gets distributed to everyone else.
There's 2 sides to this coin. One, I like it because I actually think it turns the ACC back into the most powerful conference in the country. Because if you remove football, then the next highest grossing sport, the big chip stacks at the table, would be the best basketball brands, and I believe the ACC still has that. So if you remove football, all of a sudden the ACC now, whoever's in the Super League for football, you're handling yourself. The ACC basketball becomes the biggest selling point outside of the football Super League. So I'd like the ACC being able to bully again. I think they deserve to be the biggest brand. I am biased, but hey. The thing I worry about is, what if the teams we care about aren't invited to the Super League? What happens to them? Does if they invite whatever it is, 70 schools, so it's every Power 4 program, then obviously the Wake Forests, they don't have to worry about anything. However, if they invite, say, 48 or 36, if they want to be closer to an NFL model of that 30 to 36 kind of or most pro leagues are in that, close to 30. If they go to 36, how confident are you that your schools are included? Because if they're not, then you might feel like an FCS program pretty darn quickly. Right? Because you're essentially adding another level, and if you're not at the top level, that's going to feel less important. As somebody that played for a national championship in the FCS, I can tell you right now, it's not the same as playing for a national championship at the highest level, right? It's not as prestigious. It doesn't come with as much pomp and circumstance. It's, I'm sure, not as lucrative for the school. It would be a huge worry for the teams not chosen to go with. But if you're in the Cool Kids Club, like let's say you're NC State or UNC or Duke, right? The teams that we cover most closely here in the Triangle. If your football teams are invited into the Cool Kids Club of the Super League, you're one of the 6 at least ACC teams that pay the minimal exit fee and head to the Super League for football only. Now, I assume that football Super League is operating in some ways similar to a professional league. So may even be some revenue sharing. You're making money hand over foot there. Then you look back at the NCAA, and you still have some of the biggest, baddest basketball brands in the entire country. So now you're the big dog in college sports outside the Super League, and you're included in the cool kids table in the Super League. Now you're on top of the world. But if you're not invited to the football, you're not getting that Super League money. Now you're playing in what feels like a 1AA. It feels like you're playing in an FCS for football. Much less good. And I know that's bad grammar, but called for it. Much less solid footing for the future. Super League scenarios have been discussed a ton. I've seen everything from 60 teams up to every power conference, which would be around 70, all the way down to 30 or 32 for those super leagues. I don't want to make myself sad with thinking about what 32 teams would be chosen, because politics matters, right? It would be the SEC and the Big Ten and a few others, but yikes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. But it is a clue, right? That Super League, even if it's not happening, if the smartest scientist I know just started getting together like a few non-perishable foods and putting them in their basement, and they're like the smartest meteorology-trained scientist I know, I would go, you know what? Maybe we should grab some canned foods, right? Like maybe we should look into what's going on here. Same is true here, right? If the ACC, Florida State and Clemson, if their lawyers looked at everything and insisted on this provision being put into the contract, I'm probably going to start preparing. John Scheyer, the head coach of Duke basketball, talked to the media today, and he used the terms, and he actually said, something they pride themselves on. They had a meeting, he either said yesterday or earlier today, with his coaches of just trying to predict what the future looks like.
Yeah.
Just trying to get together and try to understand so they can be prepared and be ready to pounce on advantages that appear or, deal with disadvantages that appear. The fact that this clause is in the contract, somebody is preparing for something. And sometimes when people are running away and screaming, you don't ask, hey, what are you running from? You just start running. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Talk about unpredictability, talking about preparing for everything. No better transition than to talking about Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. If you could predict everything, if you were some kind of future seer, you're a psychic, a prophet, then you don't have to worry about mortgage rates, right? You know, in 6 months they're going to be the lowest they're going to be, and I'm going to lock in my mortgage then. Unfortunately, none of us are that kind of psychic, right? None of us have the ability to tell the future. So instead, it's better to prepare with a no-cost loan. Gordon's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987, and they serve a similar purpose through that entire run. What it does is it allows you to take advantage of a volatile market. Okay, you lock in your mortgage today, rates a little higher than you were hoping for, but a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, rates drop. Boom. Refinance. Again, no cost, no fees. Zero means zero. No closing costs, no surcharges, none of that. No money out of your pocket. You just lower the monthly rate. Lower the monthly payment, I should say. Then they drop again in 6 months. Beautiful. Do it again. But what happens if they go up? Perfect. You locked in the rate already, right? You're already paying your mortgage. Going up market doesn't hurt you because you have your rate locked in. It's the beauty of a no-cost loan. It's preparing for the unpredictable, just like we were talking about. Smart people go ahead and grab some non-perishables. I might grab some non-perishables. I can't predict it. I don't even know if there's that many smart people out there that can predict a mortgage market. Instead, we all should prepare. So give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146. We have more coming up here on The Drive, including the Dean's List. Stick around.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update sponsored by Fidelity Wealth Management. He barely had to break a sweat. Two-time defending champ Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the Wimbledon semifinals today, knocking off Brit Cameron Norrie in straight sets. He'll play American Taylor Fritz next.
He's playing great. I think the grass season for him has been really successful so far. 2 titles, semifinal here at Wimbledon. So I'm just going to be ready for that battle.
Fritz advanced today with a 4-set victory over 17th-seeded Russian Karen Khachanova. Another American won as well. 13th-seeded Amanda Anisimova beat Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in straight sets. She'll meet world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the semis. Sabalenka needed 3 sets to defeat Germany's Laura Siegemund 4-6, 6-2, 6-4. The other American still alive, Ben Shelton, plays his quarterfinal match tomorrow. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. Just trying to spread some positive there. Just wishing you a good day. Right now, we're going to wish you a good Dean's List. Let's put class in session. Dean's List, where we pass on a few extra accolades, a little extra praise to those in the college sports world that deserve it. And this is going to be a bit of a backhanded Dean's List entry to start things off. But I am putting on the Dean's List all ACC football coaches other than Bill Belichick and Mario Cristobal.
Okay.
Those two reportedly not going to be in college football 26.
Oh, they're not in the game at all?
They're not in the game.
Oh, okay. All
There's going to be some generic Miami and UNC coaches coaching those teams. I assume because they didn't sign off or didn't get them, and I guess Belichick, I kind of, went down a wormhole. I guess he's done this in Madden as well, where he's
Makes sense.
Not a part of it. What else could you want? man. You guys are highly competent. Just be in the game. You got fans. The people want to play is you. They want to see the hoodie, the cut-off sleeves. Miami and UNC, come on. Be in the game. Be in the game. Remember, for a long time, what was it, NBA Jam? Jordan wouldn't be in NBA Jam.
Yeah.
Well, what? Is all of our shoe money not enough? You need also to get extra money from the video games?
Well, I think that's the thing. Back then, they weren't getting paid for that.
It had to be negotiated by the Players Association.
I don't think so.
Well, then why was anyone in it? Why wouldn't
different times?
Well, still, even so, Jordan wasn't the one that needed the money. If anyone should have been saying, I don't want to be in it, it would be one of the guys making way less. Gatorade was probably taking care of him. My point is, the games are for the kids, man. Be in the game. That's a Dean's List entry. Do you have a Dean's List entry that you'd like to throw in here, Dennis, before I get to my next two?
I don't.
All right, perfect. More time for me to hype up the Big 12.
Big 12?
Their media day starts today for football. Why wait?
True.
Why start football season early? Let's put the pads on.
I know you got their commissioner, Brett Yormark, saying, we feel like we're going to get multiple bids into the college football playoff.
There's already, Scott Frost, UCF head coach, was asked what he learned about what he learned from his time at Nebraska, which was a cluster. He said, don't take the wrong job. So we're getting sound bites. We're getting football coach sound bites already from the Big 12.
At the end of the day,
that is who now has the Nebraska job.
That's right. That's right.
Matt Rule. By the way, I really put it in just to get to one of my favorite crusades, campaigns. And it was started, the first time I heard it was from Dave Doran, head coach NC State. So I give him credit for at least putting the thought in my mind. I don't know if he's the first to come up with it overall. Right now, training camp should be starting. Start the football season 1 month earlier. So training camp is most of the month of July instead of August. And then right at the beginning of August is when the season starts. Do you know why? Bunch of good reasons. One, more time where college football doesn't have to compete with the NFL. Play Monday nights. Play Sunday nights. Two, the season could then end a month earlier, which would end essentially on New Year's or New Year's Eve, which gives you time before the second semester for transfer portal, which means nobody would be opting out of college football playoff games in exchange of going in the portal. It is solving everything. So right now, the Big 12 is starting their kind of metaphorical season or their philosophical season by just media day kicking things off. But we should actually be starting practice right now. You'd get a whole month on the calendar with no competition from really any of the other major watching sporting events. Last Dean's List member for the day, Appalachian State and Georgia Southern. Shout out to App State. The Athletic is doing rivalry week this week, college football rivalry week. I could, and maybe we will, but I don't. I hope I don't. So maybe one of you can be my checks and balances here and stop me if you hear me going down this path. They've ranked the top 100 college football rivalries, and I don't agree with the list, but I also acknowledge that it would be nearly impossible to know enough about every single rivalry to rank them. So maybe not their fault. But they did do a mini list because it's rivalry week, right? It can't just be one piece of content. On the rivalry names, they ranked the best rivalry names. And I just want to give a shout out. The 7th best rivalry name on their list is the App State Georgia Southern rivalry, known as Deeper Than Hate. App State was in the honorable mention category as well with the Old Mountain feud between App State and Marshall.
Deeper Than Hate sounds awesome.
Deeper Than Hate is it's so good because it took no creativity, right? It's straight to the point. It's not like a 10 punch combo. It's like a straight right. Just Deeper Than Hate. No. This ain't for fun. We're not putting, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We're not putting some clever name on it.
Textile Bowl.
Yeah, we're not looking at industries. No, this is Deeper Than Hate. I hate you, you hate me. I kind of like it. I think 7's a little underrated. But there are some other good rivalry names. I'm not going to talk down upon them. But App State, Georgia Southern, 7th best rivalry name in the country. There are some other good ones. Don't get me wrong. But shout out to them. There you go. That is the Dean's List. Let's go ahead and dismiss. And for the next couple of minutes here, I want to let everybody know that Win Your Weight in Meat is back. Starting yesterday at 3, so it's continuing. The text line is open now. You can text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming one of our 10 finalists in the Win Your Weight in Meat competition. Every weekday, including today, at 4 o'clock, we will call one lucky texter live on air. So one of you that submits that keyword to our text line. And all they'll have to do is tell us their weight, and they will be in the running as one of our 10 finalists. On Monday, July 21st, one of our 10 finalists will be randomly selected to win their weight in meat. So text BEEF to 919-860-5326 if you haven't done so already. If you want to be in the mix for today's drawing, you have to do it in the next 20 minutes. It has to be before 4 o'clock. Again, 919-860-5326 is the number. BEEF is the key word. All of this brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Shout out to all the App State grads out there. My mom's an App State grad. She just texted me. She attended Deeper Than Hate 40 years ago. So for those of you out there in the however long ago that would be, you were in the presence of my mom. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of my mom, ready for this transition. This past Christmas, got her a Christmas gift from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. If you aren't following yet, follow the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, which is located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location in Raleigh. Follow them on Instagram. The name is simple to remember, their handle on Instagram, at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. And once you do that, you can be the first to know when hot new timepieces hit the shop. Vintage Rolex, bold new styles from Blancpain, Norcane, and more. It's basically like you have like a personal VIP line to some of the coolest collectors, enthusiasts, the lines that are coming through, what's new in watchmaking. They're not just showing off watches. They are also teaching you about them, if that's something you're into. They're educating you on the iconic models, what makes them a good investment piece, and tips on care and collecting for watches that you already have. So check them out. They also have all their events and everything that they have at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, so you know when a particular brand, maybe a founder, will be showing up and going and hanging out, whatever it is. Again, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop on Instagram. Give them a follow. I do it. You should as well. You can even direct message and communicate with one of their watch experts all in one place. If you see one of the pre-owned or vintage Rolexes, you're like, hey, how much is that? Hey, what's the measurement on the dial? Hey, what year is it? Whatever questions you have, they'll answer them right there in the direct messages. At Fox and Bailey Watch Shop on Instagram. Let them know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim. We'll be back with Canes conversations. New guys have joined the Canes, right? Trade, free agency. What impact will those new guys have on the returnees that we know so well? Stick around.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. it's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a Dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Leftover Salmon and the infamous String Dusters are coming to Cocoa Booth Amphitheater Saturday, July 11th. Get your tickets on etix.com today.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Get it out. Forsling bounce it. Now it comes out in front. Holding shoot. He scores! Seth Jarvis with the turnover. And Carolina has tied it at 3.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Canes made some of the biggest splash moves of the offseason for the NHL thus far. And it's obviously our nature to jump right into talking about how awesome Nikolai Ehlers is. Or, ooh, what is the ceiling for Miller? How good can he be? But there's this whole other group that is maybe intently watching or listening for a different reason. And that's the players that are already on the Canes. I actually think this is one of the more underrated, stressful parts of the transfer portal in college now. Again, I'm just because I just watched it before the show. John Scheyer, Duke's basketball coach, talked to the media today, and his quote was, "The only day in the transfer portals that matters is the last day when the window is closing. That's the only day that matters because that's finally you can kind of relax." When a big-time player joins your team, if you are a player on that roster, I'm sure you start with excitement, makes us better. Maybe we'll go win in the postseason further than we've done. Maybe he's the missing piece. But I'm sure followed up shortly is, I wonder what that does to me. I wonder what that does to me. And there's a few questions that Ehlers and Miller bring to the Canes that still need answer. And luckily we have a few clips from Rod Brind'Amour that we'll be playing for you. But here's one that's interesting. Jackson Blake, as a rookie last year, skated a decent amount with the top line with the Canes. And I don't think he was perfect, but showed a lot of promise. A lot of people were really excited about him. Now that you bring in Ehlers, obviously, to be a top liner, you put Jarvis on the other side. You look at the second line, there's Svetch. You probably are thinking Taylor Hall, perhaps, on the other side?
Taylor Hall or Logan Stankoven, maybe?
Or Logan Stankoven. Stankoven could also potentially be with Martinook as the third-line wingers. Did Jackson Blake just become a fourth-liner, potentially? Now, I would say, as a team, that's kind of awesome. Right, because if you have a stud on your fourth line, just imagine how good your top three lines are.
He scored 17 goals last season.
If that's but for Jackson Blake, I'm sure you're fighting right? You don't want to be a fourth liner. Now, we have to decide who's going to end up being the second-line center. But if that is a player with size, I think you might also entertain putting Taylor Hall as a fourth liner and Jackson Blake on the second line opposite Svech. And then you have again, I think you need size at second line to make that work because Jackson Blake's not the biggest dude. But then I love the idea of Taylor Hall as a fourth liner, not just because, right, the better your fourth line is, obviously the better everything else that pushed them down to a fourth liner is, but also I've raved about the way I think he sees the ice, just veteran, seen everything twice. Him against maybe less experienced, less used players, if you're matching fourth line against fourth line, I think he'd make them look foolish at times. There's also this question of, I just listed a whole bunch of wingers. Keep all of those in mind, but then throw in also Eric Robinson. Actually, I'll just read them all for you one time real quick. New guy Ehlers, there's Jarvis, there's Fetch, there's Blake, there's Stankoven, there's Martinook, there's Hall, there's Robinson, there's Carrier. Is there space for Bradley Nadeau to get a chance? If we're talking about putting Jackson Blake potentially on the fourth line, I don't know where you put Bradley Nadeau, who was on the all-prospect team in the AHL last year, was a first-round pick a handful of years ago. Not even a handful, just a few. And with all of those guys, I believe all of those guys that I mentioned, now that Stankoven's under a long-term deal, under contract for at least 2 more years, you just put Bradley Nadeau on ice? No pun intended?
I mean, yeah, there's really no spot for him over the next couple of years when you think about it. Like you said, everyone's under contract with the exception of Jackson Blake's and RFA.
True. You're right.
But again, you still have, cost control.
I like organizational depth, but I mean, you got 13 forwards that really aren't going anywhere, and you have a rookie who's saying, or a would-be rookie whenever they get called up, saying, I've done what I can do in the AHL. Even if he scores 35 goals in the AHL this year, there's just no spot. And then there's this offhanded defenseman conversation, right? Because bringing in Keandre Miller, along with Jacob Slavin, along with Alexander Nikishin, along with Shane Gostisbehere, those 4 are all left-handed. You also have obviously Sean Walker and Jalen Chatfield that are right-handed. But which of those 4 is going to play off-handed? That's something they have to figure out. You assemble the most talent possible, then you look to Rod Brind'Amour and say, you make it work. Well, luckily, Rod Brind'Amour was on our network earlier today on the Adam Gold Show, and Rod was asked by Adam about figuring out who's going to be playing on their offside on defense. Here was part of his answer.
It's interesting because it's kind of a moot point. I know, we can fill time here talking about it, but everybody's probably going to move around a little bit this year. Maybe, in the past, it wasn't quite that way.
Uh-huh.
But I think just because there's some unknowns, somebody's going to have to move over. We like our group. Does Walks get a chance to play up a little more? Do we do Nikishin up and see, or do we, got to be careful about pushing him too hard? He's got a lot to learn. So I think all this is going to, kind of work itself out. But it's just great to have, a lot of good options.
So the answer is, we're going to see. We're going to give them all a chance. Whichever one of them does it best. It's kind of the way I read that. The good news is I do think Slavin, Chatfield, Walker, and I don't anticipate Slavin going offhand for obvious reasons. I think those guys are pretty good at covering for their partners in a lot of ways. So if there are growing pains, you'll have at least a guy or maybe 2 in some cases that can make up the difference on a line. So it's an interesting deal. And this is where I point out my blind spots, right? I've never played hockey. Okay. I've at least I played basketball, I'm a pretty good high school player, played baseball growing up, ran track, did all that, but played football in college. I have less than a handful of pickup hockey, with friends and family experiences. I don't know how difficult it is to play offhand.
I hate it.
That's with context. It stinks. So is it how much of a sacrifice is it of their production? How much of a sacrifice is it? Like there's so much I don't know there. But what I do know is somebody's going to have to do it, and they're going to have to do it at a high level because the Canes blue line is never, as long as you're doing okay, right? As long as you're not a disaster. Like they are always playing with super high expectations. So whoever's playing offhand, whoever's playing the opposite side is going to have to figure out a way to do it at a super high level. And that just, with every other sport, you ask somebody to throw with their offhand, they're going to look ridiculous. You ask somebody, I guess switch hitter, that might be the only other thing where it's possible. But if you ask a traditional right-handed swinging baseball player to go I know it's not apples for apples, but I'm saying it seems really difficult from where I'm sitting, even if it's not.
So as a defenseman, especially if you're trying to clear the puck up the boards, if you're left-handed and you're on your left side, you're on your strong hand, you're on your forehand, it's a lot easier to control the puck, making passes, or you're trying to go off the boards, whatever it might be. If you're trying to do it on your backhand, you have a lot less control, and sometimes you have to take an extra step just to get control of the puck on your backhand, which that extra half a second might be the difference between getting a puck clear or someone closing in on you. And also sometimes when you're in transition, taking passes on your backhand is a lot more difficult to do than receiving it on your forehand. So it's not an easy thing. There are definitely guys that can do it. I've zero doubt that Jacob Slavin could do it. No problem. No problem at all.
I agree with that. I just don't think he'll be the one asked to because he's Jacob Slavin.
Exactly. Or maybe he is the one asked to do it because he's Jacob Slavin. You never know. So it's not an easy thing to do, but there are some guys who grow up doing it out of necessity and they just get so comfortable with it that they're just used to it.
It's one of those things that we'll talk about a lot in the offseason, but I guarantee you if somebody playing on their offhand takes that extra beat to possess the puck and they turn it over, we're not going to give them the benefit of any doubt. Fans are going to, that's an awful in your own zone turnover. It just has to be at a high level. Here's Brind'Amour earlier today on the Adam Gold Show on the disadvantages of playing on your offside on defense.
Moving guys over to their offsides is not ideal, especially in today's game with the puck pressure that everyone puts on. So people don't understand that it's tough when you jam a guy up and he's got to take that extra second to handle it on his offside. All of a sudden, that's how turnovers happen. So what you mentioned, having Ghost go over there, he's one of our more talented players, so that makes sense, right? If you're just sitting there going, well, let's try him because he probably can handle it the best. But like we said, there's going to be a lot of, I think, experimentation in that group. But I think every option should be a solid one.
Again, it goes back to my reaction to his first thing. It sounds like we're going to try it all, and whichever one works best, we're going to do that until it no longer works best, and then we're going to do the next thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it starts off Slavin and Sean Walker, and then it's Keandre Miller and Jalen Chatfield, and then it's Nikishin with Gostisbehere on his offside. Wouldn't surprise to see that.
I think that would make a lot of sense as a starting point.
Yeah.
I think it would make a lot of sense as a starting point. And I very much love those top four, and I'm very much a fan of Nikishin. And I'm especially with his special teams contributions, I really like Gostisbehere. So it's a good problem to have. We got these 6 really good defensemen that you like for a lot. We got to figure out how to play them. And it's a good problem to have for a guy like Rod Brind'Amour because I trust him to come up with the move and make it happen. But there are still a lot of questions. Now that the roster seems kind of solidified and who's going to be on it, still a lot of questions with who plays where and what the future of it looks like. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. ESPN went ahead and polled NFL executives, NFL scouts, NFL coaches on who the best defensive tackles in the NFL are. Where did Derrick Brown of the Carolina Panthers rank? That, and we qualify our next Win Your Weight and Meet finalist. Coming up, don't go anywhere.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same-game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets, like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
Hey, Daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
North Carolina FC is back in action Friday, July 11th at First Horizon Stadium in Cary. Don't miss the showdown with Birmingham Legion FC. Get your tickets now at tickets.northcarolinafc.com and be there for the excitement.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This midday hour, temperatures already in the low 90s. It's a WRAL weather alert day thanks to a heat advisory in effect. Highs in the mid to upper 90s. The feels like 104 to 109. Heading into the evening, we see the chance for a few hit or miss storms. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 165 points to 44,240.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to football at 4, we need to qualify our second finalist who might win their weight in meat. Win Your Weight in Meat is back. Yesterday, we qualified our first finalist. We have another today, and we have 8 more on consecutive weekdays. So every weekday for the rest of this week and all of next week, around this time, we will call one lucky texter who sent in the keyword beef to 919-860-5326. If you haven't done so, you can still do so and be in the running for tomorrow and all of the rest of our qualifications for finalists here. All you have to do is text BEEF, B-E-E-F, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326. And then every day around 4 p.m., we'll call one lucky texter live on air. And all they have to do is tell us their weight, and they will be in the running Monday, July 21st. We will randomly select one of the 10 finalists, and they will win their weight in meat. All of it brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. And I'm told Jackson in Apex is on the line as potentially our next finalist. Jackson in Apex, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, there's one thing you have to do. Got to let us know your weight. What are we working with for a potential win your weight in meat number?
I wish I wouldn't have dropped a little bit of weight, but I'm at 190 right now.
This is the one time you're like, darn, why did I have to start running? But hey, I'm happy for you shedding a couple pounds, and I'm happy for you because you are a finalist officially in our Win Your Weight in Meat competition.
Awesome.
Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis will likely have some info he needs to grab from you, but you are in the mix. And as I say to all of our contestants, be sure to be near your phone with your phone turned loud Monday, July 21st at 4. Because when we call, there are rules on you have to pick up or how much time we give you. Just Monday, July 21st at 4. Be near your phone and answer it when it rings. There you go. Everybody else, if you are not Jackson and Apex or our finalists from yesterday, there's still plenty of time. We need 8 more finalists. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming a finalist every weekday, including tomorrow, 4 p.m. We will call a texter on air and have that same interaction we just had with Jackson and Apex. Brought to you by NC Beef Council. Beef. It's what's for dinner. I almost, spelling the key word, I almost had like a bananas moment, B-A-N-A-N-A-N-A. I was like, did I just say 4 E's? B-E-E-E-E-F. No, it's spell it right. B-E-E-F. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now we can jump into football at 4. I teased it before the break. ESPN, once a day, is revealing a top 10 list. They have pulled anonymous NFL executives, coaches, and scouts on every position in the NFL, and they're putting out a top 10 list. So you vote for your top 10, and they calculate who kind of the consensus top 10 is. And to be completely honest with you, today's defensive tackle day, it did feel like, hey, if the Panthers are going to have one in the top 10, this is as good a chance as any, right? It's kind of Derrick Brown as a defensive tackle or J.C. Horn as a corner, and I'm not sure anybody else, maybe Robert Hunt as a guard. There's not a lot of opportunities here. So I clicked on the link enthusiastically today. I was with great anticipation. He's not in the top 10. Derrick Brown is not in the top 10. But they also put out a 5-person honorable mention. Call that the top 15. He was in the honorable mentions. He is, if you go in order of honorable mention, the 12th best defensive tackle in the league. The names above him, I will read for you quickly. Dexter Lawrence, shout out to the local guy up there for the New York Giants, but from the area. Chris Jones with the Chiefs, Jalen Carter with Philly, Jeffrey Simmons with Tennessee, Quinnen Williams with the Jets, Leonard Williams with Seattle, Nnamdi Madubuike with Baltimore, DeForest Buckner with Indy, Vita Vea with Tampa Bay, Cameron Hayward, your Pittsburgh guy, made the list number 10, and the only honorable mention ranked above Derrick Brown is Christian Wilkins. Clemson, now he's on, was with the Dolphins, now with the Raiders. I'll read you the blurb. This is the explanation. A NFC executive, anonymous, but we know it's in the NFC, said when he's healthy, this is about Brown, when he's healthy, he's near the top. Elite run stopper with some pass rush upside. We've been talking a lot about the Canes due to their offseason, right? I think that last sentence, elite run stopper with some pass rush upside, I think that's the key. Now, why did I bring up the Canes? The conversation around Derrick Brown reminds me a bit of the conversation around Jacob Slavin with the Canes. In that Jacob Slavin, in order to be considered the best of the best defenseman by the public at large, you have to score goals. Even if you are absolutely elite, 10 out of 10 at darn near everything else, you can't be in the public lexicon one of the top 2 or 3 defensemen unless you're scoring goals and point producing and scoring goals and point producing. Even if you're the best at other things that are just as important, it's because that's the flashy stat that everybody locks onto. Derrick Brown will never be considered a top 5 defensive tackle if he doesn't get after the quarterback more and get more sacks, even if he's elite and the best at so many other things that are just as important, right? If for my money, Derrick Brown's the best run-stuffing interior defensive lineman in the league. 103 tackles the last time he played a full season. That is absurd. Not to mention all of the run stuffs that, you know, it's like a shot blocker, right? Even if you don't block the shot, you affected it. Even like the plays where the hole just never opens up because Derrick Brown is clogging it and the running back tries to bounce outside and somebody else gets the tackle, right? He doesn't get a tackle for that, but the impact is there. He is so good at it. In the same way, Slavin is really good at the hidden stats, right? The getting back and just forcing one more pass or covering for a defensive pairing, right? All of those things that are elite, but just don't come with the flashy stat, right? It doesn't come with the goal. You don't get to celebrate. A horn doesn't go off. The siren doesn't start sounding. That the rest of the league doesn't acknowledge you as good as the other guys. If Derrick Brown, and I'm not asking for like 13 sacks, but if you look at most of the guys in that top 10, they're putting up 6, 8, 7.5, 6.5. In some cases, right, you look at like Matabuke had, I think, a 13-sack season. In some, Chris Jones obviously has gotten double-digit sacks, but they're also bouncing out a lot more. Dexter Lawrence has been a beast in a lot of ways. I'm not discrediting any of them, but I'm saying if Derrick Brown is going to get in the conversation with those guys, got to get the sacks. Right, that's the thing that is holding him back in little, for lack of a better term, stupid lists like this. Do I think Derrick Brown actually cares? Right, he's got a massive contract. He's a cornerstone of a franchise. If he wants to, he can play here for a really long time and go down on some really cool lists and do all those sorts of things. Do I actually think he cares what ESPN puts him on a list on July 8th? No, but the only way it's not frustrating for Panthers fans to read those lists is if Derrick Brown moves up. Because I do believe he's better than the 12th best defensive tackle in the game. But he's not going to be recognized as such until he has like a 7-sack season. If he keeps up his run stuffing, gets 7.5 sacks next year, I think top 5 is a legit possibility. He might be an all-pro.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about like elite level for interior defensive linemen? Absolutely.
Except there are guys like Chris Jones and stuff. But they bounce out. DeForest Buckner these averages a little over 8. Like there's
But you're in that conversation. That's the thing.
Exactly. And it would make teams treat you differently. It would actually make your run stuffing a little bit easier. Like there's so many things that a good pass rush opens up for you. And he hasn't needed it to be one of the best defensive tackles up to this point. It's just, for lack of a better term, sports fans are like easily distracted, right? It's the, ooh, look at this. It's shiny over here. Everybody pay attention, right? A coach, I remember actually John Gruden's in the media now. He's got podcasts and stuff. He's unboxing stuff. But when John Gruden first entered the media, he tried to do like whiteboard. He wanted like a low budget camera with low resolution, him at a whiteboard with a dry erase marker explaining like the ins and outs of football. Guess where he's ended up? He rips open boxes and goes, "Look at the cool gear that I got from Stony Brook." Like he's learned that our attention goes to the shiny thing, right? And the same is true in the NFL, right? Somebody will be up there trying to explain, well, what Derrick Brown does is he actually frees up his linebackers to make tackles in addition to finding a way to get his 100 tackles, and he stuffs the run, which puts them in down and distances that are blah, 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 blah. And then someone over there would just yell like, Chris Jones has 12 sacks. And it's like, ooh, let's go there. Like, it's just, you get distracted by that. So for Derrick Brown to get the just due, he just, win a couple more pass rush snaps and hope that Michael Penix Jr. trips in front of you and you're the first one to run up and touch him, because that's all it takes to get a sack. Sometimes I do think sacks are overrated, by the way. And the NFL is coming around. They're going to like pressure rates and hurries and disruptions and all these other stats because, like literally, you have a day that's muddy and like Kirk Cousins falls over twice. You walk away with 2 sacks. The difference between 4 and 6 for a defensive tackle is huge on a season.
I think also as well as like you could have one good play a game and you get a sack, but you're non-existent for all the other 60 snaps on defense or whatever it might be.
17 sacks, you're a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, getting paid $35 million a year.
If you can find someone to do it, right, Trey Hendrickson?
Yep.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Once again, motorcycle is just parked. This weather sucks. I hate it. Unfortunately, got to deal with a bunch of bad rain or humidity and just the heat, everything that goes along with it. But I know the next time I get back out there on the motorcycle, I have to make sure I got a few things. I got to check and make sure that everything's in proper working order, all the lights, all the electrical systems, all those things. Is the tire pressure up to speed? But also, wash my bike. Believe it or not, washing your motorcycle is actually one of the best things you can do for your bike because it prevents a lot of the gunk and buildup, especially in the engine, the brakes, all those kinds of things. Take care of your motorcycle, and it will take care of you. Unfortunately, accidents do happen when you're out there on the road, and this is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact the insurance company. Insurance companies want to give it the least amount possible, but the best thing about Law Tigers is that they're riders too. They're part of that motorcycle riding community, so they know what your bike and your gear are worth, but most importantly, they know what you're going through after an accident and the dangers that come with being out there on the road. That's why your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, has, I believe, our highest stakes ladder challenge in the history of the game. Coming up next, don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
He's got Derrick Henry. He's got other weapons. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. The defense took a big step up last year, and now you add Jair Alexander. You have a head coach who's won a Super Bowl. If it's not Lamar Jackson, I don't know who has more pressure on him heading into this season.
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, Greater Triangle area, Chick-fil-A wants to invite you to enjoy 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips on us in the Chick-fil-A app. Join us this week, July 7th through 12th, 2025, to get your reward for a 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips by downloading or signing into your Chick-fil-A app. With location services on in the Greater Triangle area. Redeem when you order through the Chick-fil-A app at a participating Greater Triangle area Chick-fil-A restaurant from 10:30 a.m. to close. Offer subject to availability, rewards are single use only. Limit 1 per person per Chick-fil-A 1 account. See further details in the app.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update. Day 9 wrapped up at Wimbledon with 4 advancing to the semifinals. It was a close call for world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, who rallied from 1 set down to beat Germany's Laura Siegemund 4-6, 6-2, 6-4. 13th seeded American Amanda Anisimova beat Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in straight sets, which included a nearly 15-minute tiebreak.
Such a battle today. I was up there in the second set, and yeah, she started to play some unreal tennis, and I just kept fighting, and yeah, the tiebreak was super stressful, but yeah, I'm just so happy that I got it done and super excited to be in the semifinal for the first time.
Anisimova faces Sabalenka in the semis. She's 5-3 in 8 matches against her. As for the men, 2-time defending champ Carlos Alcaraz didn't have to work too hard to knock off Brit Cameron Norrie in straight sets. Taylor Fritz also advances. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The ladder challenge is about to get real. Yesterday, just so we don't spend any time on it, we both missed. We had Ohtani and Betts as home run hitters, and they did not. Dodgers got smoked 9-1 and a loss to the Brewers. So July is starting at 0-0. We also have to settle the score in June. So this is how we've structured it. We can go ahead and fire up the ladder challenge music, by the way. At the end of June, we were tied. This is a month-to-month competition. So I can't have a tie. I won't allow it. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. So for June, we have decided there will be one $10 bet. Whoever has the most money tomorrow wins June. This is like the do or die, the final. And also we will do a separate $10 bet just for our daily bet in July because, just because June is unsettled doesn't mean July isn't already over a week done. Honor system, no changing it once we hear the others bet. I have mine written down, so you can see if I'm typing or whatever on YouTube. By the way, follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. Check out the YouTube live stream, all the content we're constantly cranking out there. 99.9 The Fan, just search for it. Dennis, would you like to go first or second? I'll give you the option. For our June, we're going June first. This is for all the marbles an entire month.
Okay, I'm going to go – I'll go first.
Okay.
At plus 175, give me Cal Raleigh. Seattle Mariners to hit a home run, plus 175. He's got 35 this season already.
I saw the video of the Mariners manager telling the team that Cal Raleigh was going to be starting in the All-Star break. And, he did the thing where you bring up a little note with the stats. Cal Raleigh's having himself a heck of a season.
Yeah.
Historically. Not just, he's leading the league in majors or in home runs. It's like he's passing Johnny Bench for certain catcher numbers. Like he's way up there. He already has 9 stolen bases.
Which is kind of crazy for a catcher. Yeah.
If he gets one more, he'll be just the third catcher in MLB history to have a 30-10 season. 30 home runs, 10 stolen bases. And it's not even the All-Star break. All right, so I like the pick.
He's from North Carolina, by the way. Cal Raleigh.
Ironic.
I know. From Western Carolina.
Even more ironic. Now it's just funny. I'm making my June pick with honor involved.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give everybody the backstory real quickly. I had a massive lead going into our final bet of July.
You did.
And I was pretty confident I could punt, right? I could just find a minus 10,000 bet, secure my winnings, and basically, play prevent defense, take a knee, and win the month. But I went out with honor, and I made a real pick, and I bet my childhood favorite baseball team, the Mets, to win a game. And they did not. They got absolutely smoked. But at least I went down with my honor and tied, and then we went into the situation. Now this will do or die. So guess where I'm going with June on the line again, Dennis? New York Mets. New York Mets. And this time I'm giving a 1.5.
Okay.
Mets minus a 1.5 against Baltimore tonight. It becomes plus 122 because I need plus money. If we both hit, I lose. But the Mets will not let me down twice. Fandom's, got to go for the integrity, the honor of it all. Let's go Mets. Helps that they're playing Baltimore, which stinks this year. Turn my $10 into $22.20. For honor. For honor. So that's for June. Whoever has the most money tomorrow, it is over. If we both get it wrong, we'll have to do it again and spice it up even in a different way. But whoever has the most money tomorrow wins June, gets the trophy in their studio for the rest of the month. Now to start July, kind of over because we were both wrong yesterday. Dennis, again, you can have the leadoff spot.
Okay, so I'm just going to go in a game that Cal Raleigh's playing in against the New York Yankees. Give me Aaron Judge to hit a homer, plus 190. So I'll turn my $10 into $29.
Just thinking there's going to be this being played in Colorado or something?
Yeah, I mean
Mexico City, and
right,
just high altitude. For July, ready for this? I believe this is a ladder challenge first. I'm going NBA Summer League.
Oh gosh, we really are degenerates. Going Summer League.
Bronny James, 2 or more made threes versus the Spurs. Late night, 10 o'clock tonight. Summer League action. The people tune into Summer League to watch Bronny. And I kind of, I lean towards these, like if there's a choice. I think they understand that, right? Dalton Connect is going to shoot a bunch for the Lakers. Bronny's going to shoot a bunch for the Lakers. Let it fly, Bronny. It's plus 150, turn my $10 into 25. And I think he might hit 3 or 4 of them. I only need 2. Bronny James, Summer League action, needs the reps. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's the ladder challenge. So we'll have June finished, hopefully, and July in the swing of things by this time tomorrow. Done with the ladder challenge, and instead, here on 99.9 The Fan, it is time for Cop or Drop. Hit it.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
All right, Dennis, what are we copping? What are we dropping?
All right, cop or drop. Let's go with a conversation we had yesterday regarding the Carolina Panthers. Do they add to their secondary? Cop or drop, the Carolina Panthers will sign either a corner or safety before the end of training camp. Cop or drop?
I am going to...
Again, I gave it to the end of training camp.
Yeah, I'm going to cop that.
Okay.
I don't think they have enough depth in the secondary, especially experienced depth. And I'm comfortable saying this. I think this offseason is the full turning point. Up until this offseason, I have done a lot of what I consider like GM thinking for the Panthers and how I judge their actions. Of it's more important to let Bryce, take his lumps and learn from it than it is to win. You're thinking of higher draft picks. You're like all of those things long term. I think were more important than the short term. Like I think the first half of last year, Andy Dalton would have won more games than the games Bryce Young played. I still think Bryce Young should have been playing, right? So I'm obviously prioritizing something over wins. I think this offseason is where you flip the switch. Now you have highly paid and or highly drafted players at most of the important positions. It's time to go all out to win. So, yeah, go get yourself a veteran corner, a veteran safety to provide depth and make it happen. So, yes, I'm copying their acquisition of someone in the secondary.
All right, you mentioned the name Bryce Young.
I did.
Cop or drop, 25 passing touchdowns for Bryce Young this year. Cop or drop?
25 doesn't seem like that much, does it? What would that have – hold on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. What would that have put him in the league last year? 25 is top 10. That is surprising. Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels tied for 10th in the league with 25 passing touchdowns.
If you look at the last 10, answer, cop or drop?
I'm going to drop it.
Okay.
I for a few reasons. 1, 25, I guess, is more than it seems, right? Patrick Mahomes had 26 last year. 2, I still think when they get down to the red zone, it is like Dave Canales is who he is. I think he wants to run the ball. And Chuba Hubbard and that offensive line, they can get it done. So I think they will still lean on their running game to potentially score more touchdowns. And I don't I think the defense is going to be better. I don't think they're going to be in as many slinging it from behind situations. Having to throw the ball to make up ground on make up a deficit. So, if he's like 23 but 6 interceptions, like something super efficient, I think that is just as good as 30 touchdowns but 15 interceptions. So give me that rather than the other.
So if you look at his last 10 starts.
Okay.
Last season. So this is after the Andy Dalton wrist injury and the car accident and all that stuff. So when he started the last 10 games.
Sentence.
I know it really is. If you look at the last 10 games, you look at the number of touchdowns that he threw, which was 15, 6 interceptions. If you average that over a 17-game schedule, you're looking at 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's why I threw the 25 number.
No, I do think it's a good number, and I think based on expectations, it's definitely what people are thinking. But it's just, you look at guys, Justin Herbert played 17 games last year. I know he was banged up at times, but that actually, I think, limited his running ability as much as anything. 23 touchdowns.
It's also very much a run-first coach as well in Harbaugh.
Very true. Geno Smith, during his time with Seattle, 21 touchdowns, 17 games played. Matt Stafford played in 16 games, 20 touchdowns. I think, if you gave me a range, if you said, over the next 3 seasons will Bryce Young do it, I think I would have copped it. But to pick any one season, it's tough. So I'm letting that one go.
All right, next one. Let's switch things over to the Carolina Hurricanes. cop or drop that the Carolina Hurricanes will make a trade before the season starts? Cop or drop?
I'm dropping.
Okay.
I don't think anyone is making centers available, and I don't think they would make a trade for anything other than a center.
At least not for cheap.
Yes, and I think the wise thing to do would be to wait and see who unexpectedly stinks next year. Right? There's going to be a team that thinks they're a top 4 team in their conference, and they're not just emphatically going to learn in the first month of the season. Not true. I mean, every year it happens, right? There's sellers at the deadline every year that didn't go into the season expecting not to be contenders. So I think that's where you have to begin your shopping, and that can't happen before the season. I guess barring, some ridiculous, a team has 2 or 3 like season-ending injuries in the preseason. Barring something like that, I don't see them making that move. So I'm still very optimistic that they will trade for a center. I am resigning myself to, I don't think it'll be until a decent amount into the season next year where that becomes more plausible due to just contract situations and the way teams are playing.
All right, final one here for you on cop or drop. The Carolina Hurricanes will move either Seth Jarvis or Logan Stankoven to play center. Cop or drop?
So it's an either or.
Either one. Move one of those guys from the wing to center.
I'm going to drop. Matter of fact, let's end cop or drop right there and make this a longer conversation because I've got thoughts, as does Rod Brind'Amour, and we have that audio for you. I don't think it's Jarvis. I think Stankoven becomes more of a possibility, and that's judging off of actions. And the reason why I say that is Jarvis has been around on a team that has needed center help, and he hasn't often been given the chance. So it's kind of like, what has Jarvis become that he wasn't last year, right? When the maybe healthy might be the deal. Maybe it was the shoulder injury that was holding him back, but I don't know how that's standing moving forward. But last year in the postseason, it was Kokiniemi, it was Roslovic, it was Jankowski with the second line centering. And really at no point in time did they go let's throw Jarvis into that rotation and see what works. The reason why I say Stankoven might get the opportunity is just because he hasn't been around as long, right? It's one thing to throw a guy who was still technically a rookie last year, but was on a new team as of mid-season and say, get yourself settled on the wing, and then we're going to try you on in the middle. So I think moving forward, as he becomes more comfortable and the coaches become more comfortable, maybe they give him a shot. But it's like if you haven't done it up till now, why would you have Jarvis do it? Now, he's been around for a long time.
I mean, Sebastian Aho was a winger his first several years in the NHL before Rob moved into center. It was about 3-4 years before that move was made.
And I guess there are similarities there. For whatever reason, I look at them as very different players. And maybe it's a bit of the size thing, although you can't really say Sebastian Aho is like the biggest dude in the world.
Bigger than those other two.
True. I'm just saying it's it's not like, because he's big, he gets to be a center. Like they're undersized across the board. Rod Brind'Amour was asked by Adam Gold on the Adam Gold Show earlier today, right here on 99.9 The Fan. He was asked about the possibility of moving Jarvis or Stankoven to center, and he didn't exactly slam the door. Here's the audio.
Well, it's for sure a consideration. I mean, you just look at now with the additions that we have, it's pushing some wingers, if not down the lineup, maybe even out, right?
Right.
And so that's to avoid that, then somebody would have to slide in there. And so, that's something you definitely tossing around. And both those guys you mentioned, haven't played center in the NHL, but they did at younger days, which, helps a little bit. So I can, not 100% say that that's going to happen, but it's definitely an option that we're seriously looking at.
Here's what we don't know. We don't know if either player wants to do it. Because I think that matters, right? If they're clamoring for it, if they're working at it, if they're coming in every offseason and saying, look how good my face-off is. Like, if they're doing those sorts of things, I think that changes things. I also believe, and Dennis, again, I'll lean on you because, as I say, I point out my blind spots. I've never played hockey. If you just take their 12 most talented forwards, or heck, if you just take if you say that's subjective, if you just take their 12 highest paid forwards, you have somebody that's going to have to that is considered currently a winger is going to have to play center. So if the idea is get your most talented 12, or we want our money on the ice, get those guys on the ice, somebody's going to have to do it. And then it almost doesn't, it almost doesn't even become do we want to? It becomes who is best suited out of the options that we have, I guess makes sense. It's just a matter of like how difficult is it to do, and do you think you have the guys that can make it happen? I would be interested to see Stankoven in that get that opportunity. I'd be interested to see Jarvis. I'm just wondering if you would make that move after kind of having so many other opportunities to do it, and maybe that's the difference with the Aho situation. And I don't recall, because it's been a handful of years now. I don't recall them being in like such desperate need for center his first couple of years, so you kind of got him to get his feet wet as a winger. With Jarvis, it's like, no, they've been needing a center for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't been getting those looks even occasionally. But I guess my question is like, how difficult is it, right? Like, is this like a right fielder moving to center field where it's like, oh, it's kind of could be difficult, but guys do it? Or is this like a first baseman moving to shortstop where it's like, I know you're all infielders, but one of these things is very different.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Are you going from a third base to shortstop? Like, it really is a lot different because, especially in Carolina's system, if you're a center, if you lose a face-off, you're staying with the other team's center, like right from the get-go. And there's also just a lot more defensive responsibilities that come with that because if I'm a winger, we lose the face-off, okay, I got to go cover the defenseman, I got to go cover the point. Whereas if I'm a center and I lose the face-off, well, now I'm down low, mixing it up with different guys, and there's just a lot more that comes with being around the net defensively. And, if you're controlling like breakouts, there's a whole lot of just inside baseball stuff you want to get to. But nonetheless, there's a lot more demand skating-wise. There's a lot more demand even defensively. And Seth Jarvis is a tremendous defensive forward. I mean, he's been voted top 12 in the Selke each of the last couple of years as a winger, which is relatively impressive when you think about it. But, I mean, some of the best skaters are on the ice are centers. I mean, you're talking McDavid, Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon. I mean, those are the kind Alexander Barkov. Those are the kinds of guys that you would have to match one-on-one against. And do you have the size and everything to keep up with them? And how much does that take away from your offensive production as well? Like, those are all things you have to balance of, okay, you might gain a little bit in some sense, but you also might lose in another way as well.
And that goes back to what I was saying, which is, do they want to do it?
Yeah.
Because they're both, by the way, it appears and sounds as if Rod Brind'Amour absolutely loves Logan Stankoven. The long-term contract they signed shows what the franchise thinks of him. So, like, he's, I think, quickly going to move into that trusted category where you just know, like, he's going to make the decision to work hard every single night, and he's going to do the little things. But there is a certain subconscious, like, I'm a winger playing center, and then you ask him to do it, and it's like, I don't know, you get a little extra when you're doing something you want to do, right? You get the little extra when it was your idea. Do they want to? More from Brind'Amour and on the very same situation earlier today with Adam Gold. Rod Brind'Amour was asked, would moving someone to center diminish their production? Obviously talking about guys like Jarvis and Stankoven mostly. Here's Rod's answer.
It kind of goes back to you would remember the debate about putting Marty Natchez at center, and that doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to do it. Are you losing some of the high end stuff that they do on the wing? Mm-hmm. And is it really worth it? Like, okay, play center now. You're taking a 30 guy can pump in 30 and he gets 20, but he's playing good defense. Is that worth it?
Right.
It's kind of that concept. You don't want to take some of your best players and make them worse. by playing a position that's it is really hard. It's a hard position to play. So, or it just adds another element, I guess, that takes away from your offense. You don't want that. So that's kind of the dilemma, and really we won't know until we do try it.
I first of all love all that insight, and it's true, right? If a 30-goal scorer becomes a 25-goal scorer, they're playing center, but they're saving 8 goals versus whoever else you'd be playing center on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
That's net positive 3, and it's really hard to see that 3, especially from where we're sitting on the outside, not crunching film and everything else. Do you know where and I've said this a billion times, but I would love to be. They're going to try somebody at center, and maybe it is Kokaniemi with the second line. I don't know. They're going to try somebody at center, if it's Stankoven or Jarvis. After they get 10 games, I would love to hear the conversation between Eric Tulsky and Rod Brind'Amour on is it working or not. Because, and by the way, neither, I'm going to paint them as almost characters of themselves, stereotypes of themselves, because I imagine, and neither of them are those far ends of the spectrum. They are somewhere in the middle. But I imagine Eric Tulsky is going to come with stats, right? He's going to come with analytics. He's going to say when he's on the ice as a center, this happens and this happens and this happens with high leverage chances and expected goals and blah, 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 and maybe even his own algorithms that we don't even have a name for. And then Rod Brind'Amour is going to come with, I've played center at the highest level, and when I watch them, here's what I see. And watching those two ideas kind of meld and figure out is it working or not would be fascinating for me, because they both might have a number, right? Rod Brind'Amour might come in and say, yeah, we're probably going to cost him 10 goals scored, but he's doing a really good job for us defensively. I see him as a positive 5. And Tulsky might go, well, I have him as a negative 3.764. Like, it might be that, and they're going to have to meld that somewhere and decide which direction to go. I think Rod would have the final decision on that, but they are. That's why it's good to have people that think differently around you, because you're gonna cover all of your bases.
And if you're playing center as well, especially if you're taking defensive zone faceoffs, you don't get the opportunities to score on the rush like a winger does, because the way the puck gets cleared out and all that, you just sometimes you might lose that. Like, for example, if you lose Stankoven as a winger, well, then what does Stankoven do really well? Like, the guy fights in the corners and gets pucks. Well, if I don't have him on the wing, I don't have him chipping and chasing the puck into the corner. So those are all things you have to take into consideration too.
And the depth of the position. Yeah. How much better is he at winger than whoever would be skating his minutes at winger versus how much better is he at center versus whoever would be skating his minutes at center, and which one is helping the team the most. And that's assuming that, players are willing to sacrifice and all those sorts of things, which you give him long-term stability. It's not like he's playing for a contract, right?
No.
He's around for a while. Maybe now is the chance to experiment. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Those debates will happen right up until and then through like the first 3 months of the season. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the next topic, Dennis has something he'd like to pass along.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Are you maxed out on credit cards? Maybe you're struggling with that high-interest debt. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. It's a pretty massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Here's the thing, folks. Your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easily low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. By the way, Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB, and they have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. The service it's off the charts. So give them a call to start the conversation right now. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There are some hot, fiery Canes fans out there judging on our comments and our feedback in our social media and YouTube. So we thought we'd air some of those out with another feedback frenzy coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
You've been to the restaurant with the good food but the terrible service and atmosphere? That's the WNBA right now. Good basketball and the rest is a mess. The expansion franchises, junk, players criticizing officials, getting into fights, no suspensions. Commissioner Kathy Engelhardt has lost the locker room. She needs to go.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Is your heating and air system handling the hot weather okay? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dick's Deal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus, 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dix.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hey, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy energy-smart features for year-round comfort and savings. Stop by, tour our fully furnished models, or visit manufacturedhomeoffers.com and browse limited-time deals. But don't wait. The Sign and Save sales event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are going to hear from some of you, some angry amongst you. But first, I want to let everybody know, in the interest of offering an olive branch, that you can win your weight in meat. We are giving you the opportunity to win your weight in meat. And all you have to do is text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 for your shot at becoming one of our 10 finalists. So, okay, how we select those 10 finalists? Well, every weekday for the rest of this week and all of next week, around 4 p.m., we're going to call one of you that has sent in beef as the key word as in a text message to 919-860-5326. We'll select you. We'll give you a call live on air. And all you have to do is tell us your weight, and then you're in the running. You are one of the 10 finalists. On Monday, July 21st, we'll randomly select out of those 10 finalists, and one of you will be chosen to win their weight in meat. So, all of that is a fancy way to say, if you want to win your weight in meat, you have to text in beef to 919-860-5326. All of it brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. 4 o'clock tomorrow will be the next time we qualify a finalist. Now it is time for a feedback frenzy, and I've been looking forward to this one all day. Dennis, go ahead and take it away.
All right, let's go and start off with the conversation we just had about would Rob Brind'Amour consider moving not Jackson Blake, but Seth Jarvis or maybe Logan Stankoven to center, possibly from the wing. Again, his words, something that he's considering. So this actually goes right to our YouTube live chat. This one comes from D. Ely. We've heard him say this before, but D. Ely says, re-sign Ryan. I'm going to make sure I emphasize the all caps here with all the exclamation points. Re-sign Ryan freaking Suzuki. He said, I played at a high level and was in the Devils organization. The center is your offensive line QB. Suzuki is ready. Playmaking, he's a real center. Also continued to say there's no need to move either Stankoven or Jarvis to center. So you want to take one of those guys that last played center in juniors over maybe your leading point center in the entire American Hockey League last year.
So his solution to second-line center is Ryan Suzuki?
Yes, the guy that's been in the organization since, 2019?
All right. This is all right. Let me. I'm trying not to be mean. Here's the deal. What this individual is doing is it's like the Ring of Honor complex times a billion. Okay, the Ring of Honor complex, for those of you that don't know, is when you put somebody, you argue that somebody who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame should be in the Hall of Fame, and then or whoever you're arguing against seems like we're hating on that player, even if we think they should be in like their team's Ring of Honor. Right? It's like, no, we're saying they're the top percent of the top percent, just not the top percent of the top percent of the top percent. We're still complimenting them. I like Ryan Suzuki, right? I think he's a really good, deep depth piece in an organization. I think he's had some really unfortunate injuries that have impacted him in a big way. And the fact that you're putting him as an NHL everyday center makes me feel like I have to be very negative on him because that's not what he is at this point. So I'm just going to simply disagree and say I also really like Ryan Suzuki, but I disagree with you in a lot of ways.
I would say this. If a player that has been in your organization that is making a league minimum if he's up at the NHL, and if he's not an answer for your organization, or I'm sorry, if he would be the answer for your organization at number 2 center, then he would already be your number 2 center. As simple as that.
The last, because he made his NHL debut this past year.
Yeah, played 2 games.
He is the last player from his first round. I think it was 2019.
2019.
The last player from his first round to make his NHL debut. I don't know what the precedent is for being the slowest to develop amongst your first round, and then going on to being a legit super long-term everyday NHL player. It's probably unlikely.
So yes, I agree. I don't think he is an everyday NHL player, at least not with this organization. And guess what? He was given a qualifying offer so they can still continue to use him down in the minors. But any team right now in the National Hockey League could sign him to an offer sheet, and the Canes probably wouldn't match it, and then that guy could be on their NHL roster and not give up any draft compensation to do so.
It is very much one of those things where it's like the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
And if the commenter isn't reading it appropriately, I've run out of justifications.
Okay, so yesterday, you and I had this is a great one here, Tim.
All right.
You and I had a conversation yesterday about how the Carolina Hurricanes still need to look to add depth at center. At least maybe go look for that number 2C. This one comes from on the YouTube. Regan721 said this. I want to make sure I get all the censorship stuff here ready, Tim. Regan721 says, "You're full of it, Tim. Trust Rodden in his observations. Maybe if Kotkaniemi had decent wingers to push the puck to, ever consider that? Consider that the numbers when Nate just was here? Oh, that line was hot. No, you don't consider that because no, you've got to have a person to flap your gums about. I can't wait to see your little tent set up outside the arena so I can tell you exactly how much you suck at representing this team in NC. I want to say it face to face. I'm so ready. Are you too chicken?
Bleep.
Are you too chicken?
There it is.
To have Kotkaniemi or Svech on your show? Tell them how much you dislike them? I challenge you to. Let's hear you tell them directly."
I would love to have both of them on the show. They're welcome anytime.
Absolutely.
And I don't hide from any of my opinions. Matter of fact, you learn in radio real quick, you should assume they're listening. It's just a better way to go about it. If you assume they're not and you think you're talking behind someone's back, it doesn't go well for you. Listen, by the way, my opinions of Svech and Kotkaniemi are not similar at all. The only reason I float the idea of trading Svech is because I think to get something back that's really good, traditionally you have to give something up that's really good. So Svech would be the really good piece you're giving up because you're stronger at wing than you are at center. So it's moving value. It's not getting rid of a bad guy.
For example, when you got Mikko Rantanen, you had to give up Martin Necas.
Exactly. The Jesperi Kotkaniemi deal is even like here's the way I look at Kotkaniemi, and I hope this is better context for you. I've advocated not for just giving up Kotkaniemi. I think he has value in the NHL. I'm on record. You can go find the YouTube where I'm saying, no, don't buy him out. Don't trade him and retain any of his cap hit. He's worth something in the NHL when many fans weren't on that bandwagon. The thing that I think he might need is a little bit of a change of scenery. And do you know how I know that? I was actually poking around on this last week when I was not on air. Do you know what he is in his 7-year NHL career on a points per game basis?
Jesperi Kotkaniemi?
Yeah.
What's that?
0.41. Okay. There you go. Do you know what he was this past year in his 7th year?
What's that?
0.42. He's just not getting better at a rate that you would hope he would. And I don't think that's I think he still skates well. I think he has size. I think he's got a lot going on. He might just need a little bit of a change of scenery, right? He might just need to get somewhere else to realize his potential. And I think there's other NHL teams that are willing to make that bet. And if the Canes can allow them to make that bet while also solving one of their problems, that's called a win-win. That's called a win-win. He played all 82 games, 2 years ago, and had a stronger season, right? He was a half-point per game player that year. If he were doing that this past year, we would be all talking differently. But it's not the way it's gone. And then on top of that, and Dennis, I know this is something you pointed out, the playoff production is even more lacking, right? And if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, we've said it about the team in general. There's nothing you can do to excite anybody really in the regular season because you've done it all, right? You've cranked out the 100-point seasons. You've won the division. You've done it all. Now it's about what you do in the postseason. And if you have a guy that's considered your second-line center and he's out there, essentially like a quarter of a point per game, if that, and goal scoring even more lacking, meaning 3 of the last 4 postseasons you've been in, none, it might just be time for a change, right? And by the way, if you're a huge Jesperi Kotkaniemi fan, I think you might be advocating for you know what, let's get him in a different situation. If the difference between Jesperi Kotkaniemi being slightly better and slightly worse is Martin Necas, maybe you send him somewhere where he could get a whole bunch of fresh new, and maybe he'll find his Necas that place. I'm going to go full 8th grade, speech contest. What is the definition of insanity? Well, Webster's dictionary says doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different. You're shaking my head. It might not actually be the.
It's definitely not that. But
you don't do the same thing and expect the same results, is what I'm saying. If you keep running it back with Kotkaniemi, my guess is you're going to keep getting a 0.4 point per game performance from a position and a salary that you need more production than that.
So if you look at Kotkaniemi before Martin Necas got traded, those 49 games that Necas played with the Canes last year, if you take that stat line from Kotkaniemi and extrapolate that over an 82-game season, it's 39 points. It was 17 goals, 22 assists. That's what you're looking at.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'll take that back. It's still 39 points, but needless to say, that's what you're looking at.
Okay.
Still 39 points. And again, you mentioned the postseason. He's played 54 playoff games in a Canes uniform. He scored 3 goals. And those 3 goals came in 2 games. Because he had 1 game against the New Jersey Devils again in 2023 where he scored twice. And then he scored the game before that, he had 1. Like his 3 goals came in a 2-game stretch of 54. That's it.
And I don't even want this segment or this response to be just piling on Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Again, there are some out there that think he is an heir apparent to maybe the stall line at center, and he can be your grinder, and he can be that. I think you don't wait that long. You don't skate 2 grinders. And by the way, that's reducing stall to the simplest form. I think he does a lot more than just grind. But it's I think they need an improvement at second line center. If Kotkaniemi, if they can work it so he's a 4th line center, I'm good. I think he's a good 4th line center. That's insulting to Kotkaniemi to say, but I think they need improvement at second line center. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's get a little optimism in here. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, and I'm going to tell you a way where you can save money. That'll get some optimistic vibes in here, won't it? Gordon Miller and Miller Lending offer something called a no-cost loan. No-cost loan means no cost, no fees, no third-party fees, no surcharges. They don't take the fees, rename them, bundle them up, and put them somewhere else, and then you're still paying it. No means no, zero means zero. Matter of fact, it kind of, the metaphor I use often is buying the tickets, right? When you're buying an airline ticket, you're going somewhere. You may see someone else say, like, hey, our rates are lower than Miller's. Miller can say, all right, but wait. What about all those costs and fees adding up? How much is coming out of your pocket right now? Similar to the airlines, right? Our airline tickets are cheaper than our competitors. Okay, cool. I'll buy your ticket. But if you don't want a two-day layover in Denver, it's going to be $50. And if you want to check a bag, it's going to be $75. If you want to carry on, it's going to be another $75. If you want water, it's going to be $10. If you want to use the bathroom, that's going to be a couple dollars as well. It's like, oh, by the time it's all said and done, I've actually spent way more on your ticket than your competitor. And the same is true with oftentimes with Miller Lending. Your competitor may have the lower rate. All right. But they also tack on a bunch of costs and fees and hidden fees and surcharges and costs and surcharges and on and on and on. By the time you add it all up, Miller was the better deal. So do your research. Matter of fact, give them a call and learn more. The number to call is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online if you want to do your research that way. MillerLending.com. Once again, that is MillerLending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. When we come back, we have the starting 5, including the first press conference from Jon Scheyer since Duke was eliminated from the Final Four. Stick around.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Brind'Amour that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, 2-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Brought to you by the Original Super Glue. Buy qualifying Original Super Glue products and save $10 per ticket. Offer available at participating town and country hardware stores. See stores for details. Coming to Lenovo Center July 26th and 27th.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRL meteorologist Mike Mays. We'll see some storms linger into the early evening hours, 77 the low. More storms tomorrow, very late in the day, and more so into the evening. They could be strong, maybe severe, and have the potential to dump some heavy rain with localized flooding.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell down 165 points today to 44,240.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Cooper on the left, on a cutter on the baseline, and James underneath the hoop. Outside, Evans a 3 on the right. Good.
Jon Scheyer, head coach of Duke, spoke to the media for the first time since the Final Four run, really. In like a media press conference scenario earlier today. And we have the audio. Now, I listened to the press conference, but Dennis, I don't know how you cut them up. So why don't you introduce 1 or 2, 3 of the clips that you grabbed?
Gotcha.
And we'll react just because I don't know which one is kind of cut into which place.
Well, let's go right into that. Talking about having spoken really since the Final Four last year. And Jon Scheyer talked about, well, he hasn't shied away from that Final Four loss.
It's incredibly difficult. I think each team or each coach is different, but when you lose at the Final Four in that fashion, and then you know you're losing your entire starting lineup, to go to the NBA, and you have an amazing turnover, you're not afforded time to really feel. I was having meetings Monday morning with our players on coming back. And you have to make sure that you do your job to have the best team possible for the following season. At the same time, I think it's natural to shy away from it or to make an excuse or rationalize. And for me, I only know one way, and that's to dive deeper into it.
I really liked the way Scheyer in the press conference addressed last season. First of all, wild that they were having player exit meetings on Monday. Monday was the night of the national championship. Like, they played on Saturday. That's when the collapse happened. Everybody saw it. Monday already having exit interviews that is so unbelievably modern college basketball. It is unreal. But in talking about evaluating last year, Scheyer mentioned they had to look on did we do the things we wanted to do as far as assembling a roster? And he said we did. Last year is proof positive of what their process, right? It's good. It marks that things happened correctly. Now, they lost. But one thing that I think is severely underrated by the masses is how much randomness you add to your champion by solving or finding your champion with a 6-round single elimination tournament. Duke was the best basketball team in the country last year. Now, Florida will forever have the mic drop of we won. Yeah, I get that. If you played a 7-game series in every round, I think Duke wins. I don't think you change your building process in a big way because of how last season went. And Scheyer gave that vibe in the presser today. As much as the loss stings, it's still like, no, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We think it's working. Give us another clip, Dennis. One more.
Also, John Scheyer talked about learning from last year's Final Four loss.
I've watched the game countless times. I've tried to reimagine and replay. It's not about second guessing or anything like that, but I think it's the reality of basketball. It's an amazing sport where crazy things can happen. You see it in the NBA playoffs. And so really taking that moment, you don't get that moment back. But at the same time, where you draw from it and you lean into it, it's the only way to go forward. And so that's what I've done. I'll continue to do that. I'm fully in. Now that our team is here, I'm fully in with them. But at the same time, look, before I ever won a national championship or a state championship, I lost in heartbreaking ways along the way that sometimes you don't feel like you can overcome or, man, and it's just what I've always had to do. And so this is no exception. And so for me, I want to use that for our players. I want to use that for our team, where hopefully they don't have to have those feelings or go through that as well.
You know, John Scheyer, I know he's not the most tenured guy as far as being a coach. Some guys are just coaches. Right, going to, before I won my state championship, I lost in some heartbreaking ways, and putting it into that kind of perspective, it's just sounds like a coach. He'll get his. I firmly believe he will. He'll get one, and he will look back on the Cooper Flag year, the Con Knipple year, and go, yeah, some things I learned there were the reason why this one worked. And whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's just the way coaches look at things. Right? Those little cliches, they're cliches for a reason. You either win or you learn. Like that kind of stuff, it tracks. There's more of that. Maybe we'll get to it maybe tomorrow, maybe later in the show. We'll see. But right now, we'll get to number 4 in the starting 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together. What?
Chris Paul has made it known that this year will likely be the final year of his of his basketball playing career. I don't like this at all. Actually, let me back it up. Chris Paul has earned the right to do whatever he gosh darn well pleases with his basketball career. I don't like it because I love that there are still guys older than me that are still getting it done at the highest levels. And when they're all gone, I'm going to feel very old. So I need Matt Stafford. I need Chris Paul. I need LeBron. I need these guys to play forever because they're still older than I am. Shout out to Sidney Crosby. Like I know you don't gotta like the player. I just like that there's people older than me still playing. Ovechkin, another retirement tour. Like, do what you got to do just for my own.
Corey Perry, keep playing.
Yes. Brent Burns, love it. I don't mind that it's not with the Canes, but I love that you're still out there making it happen. So that's happening. Second of all, I don't know if I've ever, obviously I don't know a lot of these players personally, like really a lot of athletes, but I do always root for them in their post-playing career. Like the documentaries on how many players go broke X amount of years, I hate that. I don't know if I've ever worried about a player less than Chris Paul. He's been the president of the Players Association. He's got philanthropic, he's got his AAU. He's talked openly about wanting to spend more time working with his kids on their pursuits. If he wanted to, he could walk into a head coaching job like we've seen Jason Kidd or Steve Nash or some of these other players. He could walk into any broadcast he wants. He could be a forever, is it State Farm? State Farm spokesperson if he wanted to. He's going to be fine. I would like to see him win a title, though. So, I saw somebody say Michael Jordan had the last dance. Chris Paul has the last chance. Like maybe he's got one more ring chasing in him. I just don't think championships is necessarily the best measurement of how good a player was, but it is easily the most commonly used measurement for how great a player was. So I want him to get one just so, he doesn't have to deal with the jokes the rest of his life. He's a North Carolina guy. We see him at the TST every year coming into the area. His AAU program is run out of Carolina. He's one of the good ones, it seems. Again, without knowing them personally. One of the good ones, it seems. That was number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Banchero's got it. Gets some space against Hunter. Switching defense. Allen defending. Step back. Banchero 3 on the way. It's good. Paulo Banchero has the Magic within 3.
Paulo Banchero, former Duke one and done, number 1 overall pick with the Magic, has agreed to a 5-year, $239 million contract extension, which just in that form, that's what he's agreed to, that's what is fully guaranteed, is the richest contract in Magic history. It does have the ability, if he were to become eligible for a Supermax by end-of-the-year accolades, it has the ability to reach $287 million. So there's another, whatever that is, $38 million hanging out there for him to go achieve, which is pretty impressive. There is a player option on the final year. So the 5th year is a player option, and this is hilarious. This is how sports work. I've already seen Magic fans saying, I can see the headline now. Paulo Banchero will turn down his 5th-year player option and join the Lakers on a 5-year, $500 million contract because, Shaq happened and Dwight Howard happened, and it just seems to be if you're like a, 6'11" or taller Magic superstar, you're destined to move on to the Lakers. I did the numbers earlier, but I'll give it to you quickly here just because Paulo Banchero obviously is part of the hashtag brotherhood of Duke alum or Duke former players. I don't know if alum is... Do you have to graduate to be an alum?
Yeah.
All right, so Duke former players. I don't know if he's graduated. Anyway, details. Moving on. Duke players that I've counted up. There are 24 players that are currently signed to NBA contracts. 24, including the 5 rookies that were drafted this year. Their contracts, just the contracts that they are currently on, total $1,670 million. And I believe that'll go up when players like Marvin Bagley, Seth Curry, maybe Cam Reddish sign contracts that will add to that total. They're just free agents right now getting ready to figure out where they're going to play next year. Money. I would put that on a lot of social media graphics if I were Duke basketball and send it to every recruit I can possibly find that I'm interested in. $1.67 billion, roughly, in current contracts for 24 players. 24 former Duke players in the NBA. If you want to know the players, Mason Plumlee, Grayson Allen, Banchero, R.J. Barrett, Wendell Carter, Filipowski, Ingram, Kyrie, Jalen Johnson, Trey Jones, Tyus Jones, Derrick Lively, Jared McCain, Jason Tatum, Derrick Whitehead, Mark Williams, Zion, Bagley, Curry, Kennard, Gary Trent Jr., and the 5 rookies, Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Kaman Malawash, Sion James, and Proctor. That's 26 names because I read the 2 that are still looking, but the 24 under current contract, $1.67 billion worth of contract.
Yeah, you said Cam Reddish, right? Yeah.
I didn't say.
That's right.
I should have. I could have added. He will sign and add to it.
Yeah.
The crazy part is like the guys like Gary Trent's on a 2-year, $8 million deal. Rounding error. Like it doesn't even matter. And when you have guys, Tatum, 5 years, $314. Zion, 5 years, $197 million. Kyrie, 3 years, $118 million. Banchero now, 5 years, $240. Could be as much as $287. And we're not including incentives on these deals. It's absurd. A lot of money in basketball. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us. Now a turnover.
over. Here comes Aho on a break. Shoots, he scores! Carolina strikes first. It's 1-0, and the Canes off to an incredibly hot start. Rod Brind'Amour joined the Adam Gold Show earlier today, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Talked about the offseason, the moves that have already happened for the Canes, namely acquiring Nikolai Ehlers in free agency, and prior to that, Keandre Miller in a trade with the Rangers. But then also the decisions that still have to be made on the roster moving forward that will likely drag on into the experimental phase next season. We have some clips for you. Rod Brind'Amour was asked what he likes about Nikolai Ehlers' skill set. This is what the coach said.
What's to like is obvious. The stuff that stands out when you watch him play is the speed and then the skill level. So that's a great combination. And to be honest, the consistency of that, too, over the years. Like, he's been a pretty consistent player with those numbers and whatnot. So I think you're going to add a guy that can put a little more offense into our group and, a little flair as well. So I think that's obviously welcome.
His skill set intrigues me because he brings, like he correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dennis. Let's get a little philosophical. Spiritually, he makes a lot of sense with the Canes. Like, he feels like a Cane, but he brings something, and namely the speed is what I'm thinking of here, that really no other Cane brings. Right? So often when you think of like, oh, he's a Cane, it means, well, I guess he's undersized. Maybe that's where the feel comes from. But yeah, I would be excited for him kind of bringing what Nate just brought that they lacked the second half of last year.
Yeah, especially the speed to carry the puck into the zone, especially on power plays, but just his ability to hold on to the puck in the offensive zone, just all those different things. And I think also as well is that he's not afraid to shoot the puck either. I mean, there have been times in his career where he's averaged nearly 4 shots on goal per game.
Love it.
I mean, I'll take that, absolutely.
And actually, going back to the beginning of last year, I remember saying this. Gostisbehere, who was kind of new, right? He was new-old, back on the Canes. He started the year letting it rip. He was firing shots. And I remember going, I like it because it's just the new guy is showing everybody, like, it's okay to shoot a bunch. Like, if you're open, fire away. And then he slowed down and his responsibilities changed a bit. But by the way, he was, 15th in defenseman in points last year. So it didn't fully slow down. If Ehlers just shows everybody, like, hey, if you're open, you're allowed to shoot. That's good. There were a couple times last year, Aho, shoot the puck. Like, there were a couple of those. Maybe Ehlers can be like, watch, I'll show you how. Fire away. Quickly, let's jump to the possibility. We talked about this quite a bit in the 4 o'clock hour, but I want everybody else to hear it from Rod Brind'Amour. The possibility of moving Jarvis, meaning Seth Jarvis, or Logan Stankoven, two players seen as wingers for the Canes, to center to help make their roster more talented overall. Here's Rod Brind'Amour's answer.
Well, it's for sure a consideration. I mean, you just look at now with the additions that we have, it's pushing some wingers, if not down the lineup, maybe even out, right?
Right.
And so that's a, to avoid that, then somebody would have to slide in there. And so, that's something you definitely tossing around. And both those guys you mentioned, haven't played center in the NHL, but they did at younger days, which, helps a little bit. So I can, not 100% say that that's going to happen, but it's definitely an option that we're seriously looking at.
Listen, there's good problems to have, and one of them is you got a bunch of dudes that are really talented. Now it's about finding the way to utilize them best in a roster kind of lines format. I mean, you thought everything was going to be perfect? You thought they were going to sign guys? No, I still think they'll make a move, hopefully in season when another team is maybe sellers for a second line center. Until then, you got to make the best with what you have as far as positional talent, and at the very least, it'll be interesting. Like the electricity that'll come when you get the Walt Ruff tweet at morning skates. Stankoven was skating center on the second line. It's going to be like, whoa, what? Whoa! Hey, at morning skate in Vegas, Jarvis was skating as a center. It's going to be like, oh, it's happening. It's going to be electric. And then hopefully right around the trade deadline, they trade for a legit second-line center. And it's like, oh, all right, well, that was fun while it lasted. Now go back to the wing where you guys do your thing, right? Make it work that way. Shout out to Walt, by the way. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's number 2. Time for the starting five's first position.
Go one!
We learned some things. In some court cases. FSU, Florida State, / Clemson versus the ACC. The settlement paperwork has become known, and there's things like, the exit fee is now settled, and how much would it cost? How difficult would it be for a team to leave the ACC entirely? That's all in there, and it's great, right? It's good to have concrete numbers on that stuff. But there's something that's a little bit more interesting. Somebody in that room, somebody in that negotiation process, which I would guess would have come from either Clemson or Florida State, or as a combo from that side, is preparing for a potential football super league. Now, what is a football super league? If, say, which, by the way, has always been the case, somebody at a premier football brand realizes that so many of the NCAA's problems go away if football is not treated like everybody else. They're even going back for like scholarships for Title IX. Okay, and Title IX basically means if you're funded by the government and then you're getting government funding and all of that, you need to have equal amount of opportunities for men's athletes and women's athletes, which it becomes a difficult game because football has, at the time, 85 scholarships. 85. And there's no equivalent on the women's side that has 85 scholarships. So you would think, all right, add a bunch of women's sports. No, what ended up happening was you would cut men's wrestling, and you would cut men's track and field, and you would cut all these other sports, so it would even out. Football has just always been weird. They make a lot more money revenue-wise. The media partners are way more interested in football games than other games. And if you just removed them, the NCAA's job becomes much easier. So let's say Alabama, or let's say Notre Dame, or let's say name your big brand goes, I think if we got together the biggest brands in football and we took just football out of the NCAA and we own this other league, call it a super league, we could make more money in football and our other sports can thrive more in the NCAA model. Let's do that. If that happens, the ACC is already prepared. Or more importantly, the teams, Florida State and Clemson, made sure they were already prepared by adding something into their settlement called an option of limited withdrawal, which means if at least 6 members of the ACC want to leave for just one sport, they want to remove one sport from the ACC, the same sport, by the way, like, one can't take basketball, one can't take football. All 6 would have to take the same sport to join a single sport league, conference, or other association alongside other schools, aka a super league. In that case, they would owe significantly less of an exit fee than it would cost to exit as a complete member and take all sports out. In practice, according to The Athletic, who had this first, at least that's where I saw it first, that would allow, say, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina State, and Louisville, just picking 6, to leave for a super league in football while remaining ACC members in basketball, baseball, women's basketball, and every other sport they want to be a member of. I think it's interesting they took the time to put that language in the contract. Because why put it in there if you didn't think it was a possibility? Why put it in there? Why use that as one of the things you ask for, a negotiation chip? Why ask for it if you didn't think there might even be a likelihood? And then we can sit back and opine till the cows come home about if it's good or bad for college football, if it's good or bad for college sports to build it that way. I fall on I think it would be good for the long-term health. but it would be a lot of change, and it would take a lot of getting used to. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was the starting five. Before we grab our numbers game contestants, Dennis has something he'd like to pass along.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, one thing as a motorcycle rider that I have to make sure I do, and this is really for anybody, even no matter what kind of vehicle you drive or vehicle that you ride, make sure your vehicle, your bike, whatever it is in proper working order before you get out there on the road. Like, just take a look at the tires. Make sure the tire pressure is good. Have you washed your vehicle, your motorcycle, anytime recently? Take care of your vehicle, take care of your motorcycle, and it's going to take care of you. But as a motorcycle rider, I know there's an inherent risk out there on the road. So I know if I'm injured in a motorcycle accident, I got to call the people that have my back, and that's where Law Tigers comes in. Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They are riders too. They know what you're going through after an accident. They know what your bike and your gear are worth, and that's why you got to give them a call at 1-800-LAW Tigers. Again, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers, it's always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. Maybe you got injured in a motorcycle accident several months ago, and the insurance companies just haven't been doing what you expect them to do, haven't been doing what you want to do. You can still give Law Tigers a call. Again, 1-800-LAW Tigers is the number to call. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers game contestants. Call right now, 919-860-5326 for your chance to play the numbers game. We need 2 contestants. The winner of the numbers game for today's show will receive, or will earn, I should say, you will earn a 4-pack of tickets to Monster Jam at the Lenovo Center on July 26th or 27th with awesome trucks, amazing stunts, action-packed excitement, and big air. Monster Jam is the definition of fun for everyone. So call in now if you want to play the numbers game, 919-860-5326, and you might win some Monster Jam tickets. 2 contestants, we need to hear from you. Call in next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
He's got Derrick Henry. He's got other weapons. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. The defense took a big step up last year, and now you add Scheyer Alexander. You have a head coach who's won a Super Bowl. If it's not Lamar Jackson, I don't know who has more pressure on him heading into this season.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, Greater Triangle area, Chick-fil-A wants to invite you to enjoy 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips on us in the Chick-fil-A app. Join us this week, July 7th through 12th, 2025, to get your reward for a 3-count Chick-fil-A chicken strips by downloading or signing into your Chick-fil-A app with location services on in the Greater Triangle area. Redeem when you order through the Chick-fil-A app at a participating Greater Triangle area Chick-fil-A restaurant from 10:30 a.m. to close. Offer subject to availability. Rewards are single-use only. Limit 1 per person per Chick-fil-A 1 account. See further details in the app.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app, so you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream.
A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream, now available at Wegmans.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Tyler in Durham. We have Will in Chapel Hill. They will be our contestants for today. Battling it out for Monster Jam tickets coming to the Lenovo Center later this month. As always, I will ask them both the same question. Dennis, our producer and judge for the day, will choose his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Tyler in Durham, you'll have the first chance to answer our opening question. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. In honor of us giving away Monster Jam tickets, the trucks for Monster Jam, they come with awesome names, right? Blue Thunder, Gravedigger, Megalodon. If you had a monster truck and it was your responsibility to name it, what name truck are you going for?
Dr. Lightning. And I think that almost is an off-brand Dr. Pepper, but I'm going to go with Dr. Lightning.
Dr. Lightning? All right. That's not bad. You can put some lightning graphics on the side. We can make that work. Solid answer. That brings us to Will in Chapel Hill. Will, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Same question to you. The Monster Jam, the trucks, they're named things like, let me bring up a good one here, Terminal Velocity or the Raminator or Ramunition. If you were to name a monster truck, what would you name it?
Well, if he's going Dr. Lightning, I'm going with Professor Thunder.
All right. Dennis, this one's going to be tough to decide. Are you rolling with Dr. Lightning or Professor Thunder? Both highly educated weather phenomena.
This is phenomenal. Well, because one made a play on the other. I respect it, but I'll probably have to go Tyler and Durham on this one with Dr. Lightning. The Professor Thunder does sound pretty cool.
They both
Dr.
work.
Lightning, yeah.
They both work. They actually feel like they should race each other in Monster Jam. Some of the other names, I just brought up the list. Earthshaker, El Toro Loco, Jurassic Attack. There's some good names
there you
here.
go.
But it would feel like if I was just reading them and said Dr. Lightning or Professor Thunder, both would fit. I'm proud of our listeners here.
It's like an offshoot comic book character, but all right.
Kind of true, too. All right, so Tyler and Durham gets to go first, correct? Tyler and Durham, are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right, the categories are NFL players born in early July, NFL players born in Canada, NBA players with at least 450 double-doubles all time, or NHL players, of course, same category as always, Hurricanes only.
NFL players in Canada.
All right, these are NFL players born in Canada. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Chuba Hubbard, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Correct. Chase Brown, Cincinnati Bengals.
30.
Correct. Chase Claypool, Pittsburgh Steelers.
11.
Correct. Josh Palmer, Los Angeles Chargers.
5.
Correct. Mike Vanderjagt, Indianapolis Colts.
13.
Correct. Whoa!
17 seconds.
17 seconds.
Ah, dang it.
Unofficially. Dr. Lightning was moving. You might be Dr. Lightning. Forget the monster truck. That one was pretty quick. It's not a record, all-time record, but it's up there. You're in probably top 10 all-time, maybe. That's a guess. All right, but I have to give you the harrowing warning that I give everybody that has a perfect score first. We have seen people put together some pretty good perfect scores only to be one-upped by a better perfect score next. So Tyler and Durham, stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up.
Okay, thanks.
Will in Chapel Hill, are you there?
Yeah.
You're going to have to be Professor Thunder in a big way here. It is a tall task for you, but like I said, we've seen it be done. Are you ready to pick a category?
Yep.
All right. NFL player. The categories are NFL players born in early July, NBA players with at least 450 double-doubles all time, or NHL players, Hurricanes only.
Let's do the NBA.
All right. These are all NBA players with at least 450 double-doubles in their career. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You do need a perfect score, faster than the previous contestant to win, but play it out all the way through because perfect scores still mean something, and you'll learn about that when we cross that bridge. Any questions before we get started?
No, let's do it.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Anthony Davis, Dallas Mavericks.
18.
Incorrect. David Robinson, San Antonio Spurs.
50.
Correct. John Stockton, Utah Jazz.
18.
Incorrect. Anthony Davis, Dallas Mavericks.
44.
Incorrect. John Stockton, Utah Jazz.
8.
Incorrect. Anthony Davis, Dallas Mavericks.
32.
Incorrect. John Stockton, Utah Jazz.
44.
Incorrect. Anthony Davis, Dallas Mavericks. At least you got the Admiral to avoid the shutout.
Yeah.
It was like I said, the odds were stacked against you. Anthony Davis, we were looking for number 3. John Stockton, we were looking for 12. Other than that, hopefully you had fun.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. At least he was clever with his first answer. Right, Professor Thunder. That's good on the spot.
That's
thinking.
good.
It's
it
good
really
on the spot
is.
thinking. Also, John Stockton, not who I think of for double-doubles. I always think points and rebounds, but he had 714 double-doubles.
All those assists, man.
Yeah, assists matter as well. With that being said, the winner, Dr. Lightning himself, Tyler in Durham. Woo. Congratulations, Tyler.
Thank you, guys. I won the Monster Jam last year, and you're right. Bringing a 3 or 4-year-old is the best thing you could ever do.
There you go. You got a 4-pack, so you obviously have a ticket for the 3 or 4-year-old that you brought last year, I guess. Again, so either way, stay in the line. Dennis will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize.
Okay, thank you.
4-pack. I'm sure everybody's wondering for more truck names. The Avenger, Backwards Bob.
The Avenger, nice.
Mohawk Warrior. Northern Nightmare, Monster Mutt Rottweiler. There's some good names here. I could have fun just reading these. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I could also have fun telling you, that's right, you, all about Maynard Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. I had the privilege not long ago of hanging out with their owner, Brett, and I talk about it in professional sports, right? The entire culture begins with the owner, right? It's why certain owners seem to win so many championships. Brett, he's one of those guys, right? You walk in, you get the sense of their culture. They care about what they do. They want to do a good job. They want to make their customers happy. They want to make their customers' lives a little less hectic. Right, so when you are a company that works on heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, right, when you cover so many different aspects that are necessities towards a non-chaotic life for your customers, you're going to have to care. You're going to have to do a good job, right? Let's be real. There's nothing worse than having something fixed and 2 weeks later having to come out and fix it again because it wasn't done right the first way. Not saying it'll never, ever happen in a million years, but Maynard Service Company, they care, right? They're going to do their best, do a quality job the first time and every time. So if you're having any heating, cooling, plumbing, or electric problems, Maynard Service Company is the company to call. Brett sets the tone and everybody else falls in line. The number to call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. And you can also visit them online, MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, just 15 days until Carolina Panthers training camp. Our question of the day coming up.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with some great news. Win Your Weight in Meat is back on 99.9 The Fan. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 and enter to be one of our finalists. Through July 18th, we'll pick 10 people to come on air during the drive from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and share their weight. Then, on July 21st, we will randomly select one lucky winner, and they will score their weight in meat. Served up by our friends with the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please.
Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update sponsored by Prevagen. Prevagen, made for your brain. The first batch of quarterfinal matches at Wimbledon is in the books. Carlos Alcaraz barely had to break a sweat to beat Brit Cameron Norrie in straight sets. Alcaraz will take on American Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. Fritz moves on with a 4-set victory over Russian Karen Khachanova. Just 4 years ago, the California native struggled with injury and actually fell out of the top 40.
I was coming back from a surgery, and I felt like I was just not playing to the level where I felt like I should be playing at. And yeah, I'm really happy with how I've really turned, I guess, my career around. I've put in a lot of work, and it's great to see the results.
A major upset was avoided on the women's side when world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka rallied from a set down to beat Laura Siegemund. Up next, Sabalenka meets American Amanda Anisimova, who took down Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in straight sets. With this tennis update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia. When I first started taking Prevagen, I noticed stuff just seemed to come together and fit like a jigsaw puzzle. When I have customers come in, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription, and I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. I wouldn't recommend something like Prevagen if I didn't think it was worth it because it works so good for me. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really works so good. It makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
"15 days, 2 weeks from tomorrow, Carolina Panthers training camp starts." You know what the state of North Carolina should be really, really excited about?
What's that?
That they have an NHL team that plays deep into the postseason darn near every year.
Yeah.
Because it closes the period between like the end of sports that you kind of care about and then moving into football season. I've worked in markets where the period between like the end of kind of the winter sports, not even winter sports, like there's just like 3 months of dead period. Here you get like 3 weeks, right? Because the NHL free agency just ended and already you're looking at 15 days to the Carolina Panthers starting off.
Yeah.
That's luxurious.
I mean, that's also that same time frame we'll be at ACC football media days in Charlotte.
Yeah.
The exact same time, literally.
Exactly. And I guess, yeah, it should have not limited to the Panthers. Just football season is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, Big 12 Media Day was today for football, which is kind of awesome.
I think we're 58 days until the NFL kickoff.
Wait, say this again?
58 days until the NFL kickoff?
I haven't counted, but hey, I'm not going to argue with you. Less than 2 months, let's go. 15 days until training camp. We have pledged, or I've pledged that with every show we have up until training camp begins, we will ask a question of the day for the Carolina Panthers. Today, We are asking a question that is oh so very 2025. It is a coaching hot seat question. The question is Dave Canales on the hot seat if the Panthers don't win 7 games? 7. So if they come in with 6 or less games won, is Dave Canales on the hot seat? First of all, I would like to clarify one specific deal here. Will he be on the hot seat and should he be on the hot seat are two very different things. Will he be on the hot seat is acknowledging that oftentimes David Tepper has had a quick hook with coaches, or that the NFL as a whole has moved to a much more rapid hiring and firing of coaches than they used to have. You used to have probably 3 or 4 years before anyone really judged you. Now it happens much sooner. Should it be that way? I don't necessarily agree, but we're making predictions here. We're not we're not putting ourselves in like David Tepper's office and saying, what would we do? We are predicting here. Second of all, if he doesn't win 7 games this year, I think he will be on the hot seat going into the next year will be, you better win a bunch or else you'll be gone, and there would be at risk of starting slow and midseason firings. I just think that's the way the NFL works. You don't get 3 full seasons to start winning. It usually has to happen faster than that. If I'm looking at what I would do, context matters, which is the most boring answer in the world, but it's always the most accurate. Like, let's say they win 5 games, but they win 5 games because Bryce Young takes a big step back. Then I almost think the hot seat is justified. You're supposed to be an offensive guru. You're the offensive play caller. You took the job with promises of all the big, illustrious things you could do with Bryce Young, and you can't figure it out. All right. Thus, hot seat might be justifiable going into year 3 as a head coach. But let's say they win 4 games, but it's because they have another historically bad defense. Hot seat, I don't believe would be justified. Now, Dan Morgan and Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator, they'd have some questions they'd have to answer. And I would assume if it's another historically bad defense, Evero would likely be replaced, and Morgan would have another offseason where he better put his resources onto that side of the ball. But for me, if you have an offensive mind and it's working as head coach, play caller, and your young quarterback, like if Bryce Young has a good year and they win four games because they're getting outscored in shootouts, I'm not taking away the guy that's developing the quarterback well. And I'm not even making that a possibility. I'm saying his seat is safe, but I'm also telling him behind closed doors, you better change your defensive coordinator. Like there's other ways to handle things that need to change. So if the question is Dave Canales on the hot seat if the Panthers don't win 7 games? My answer is going into year 3, he would be on the hot seat just by looking at the way the NFL handles business going into year 3.
I think a lot of it is, even if you win 6, like how close are these games? Like, are you progressing as a team? Like, there's a lot of those things. It's one thing to be a 6-win team where you got blown out 9 times. But it's also like, hey, we're 6 wins, but 7 of our losses were like 3 points, and it's because the defense wasn't good.
Yes, when it gets to should he be on the hot seat, I think what you said matters. I think hey, eye test. Did you look like you belonged on the field? There's a big difference between the losses to the Chiefs and the Eagles last year and the losses that they opened the season with. The Saints and it's just one big blur. Who'd they lose to in the second game, which was equally as bad? Was it the Falcons?
The Saints. No, Saints was the
Saints
home
was
opener.
The first. Either way.
Second game was the Chargers last year.
Chargers. You're exactly right. If you told me every loss was like the Saints and the Chargers, weeks 1 and 2, yeah. You could win 7 games. If all the losses look like that, you're gonzo. But if you tell me they all look like the Chiefs and the Eagles, where you take one of the best teams in the league down to the wire, then yeah, all right, we can talk. But even to an extent, I don't know if that matters in the real way things operate, right? It is very much a pass-fail league. Like, did you win or did you not? Oh, yeah, but our margin of loss isn't that bad. Very rarely saves a coach his job. Like, you have to execute down the stretch. It's a what have you done for me lately league. It's a make-miss league, whatever the cliche is that you want to use. So, yeah. And by the way, I don't think it's bad to put a little bit of pressure on a coach to perform, especially if you've made it known internally as an owner, all right, this is the year we start winning. Right? If you give them the leeway, right? If Dave Canales in his interview, right? Because that's what you want to go back to. If when he was interviewing for the job, he said, this is a tear-down rebuild, I would not expect wins until year 3. And he was upfront with that from the beginning. Here's my plan. In year 1, we're going to focus on the offense and getting Bryce Young to a position where he's back arrow pointed up. All right, it was a weird way to get there, but you did it. Check. Year 2, we're going to focus on the defense. We still might not be ready to compete and win very much, but you're going to see young players making strides on defense. If that's what he told you in the interview, going into year 3, then yeah, I don't think you should be on the hot seat if you're not winning games, as long as the plan that he laid out for you is still being executed. If he said, like, all right, this next year is going to be tough, but I think the following year our core can start winning, then that changes everything, right? It's all relative to expectations. I think the Panthers should start winning more games this year. I think 7, fair expectation. Fair expectation. And by the way, the way the question was phrased is Dave Canales on the hot seat if the Panthers don't win 7 games this season. That's, the line is 6.5 there, right? If you win 7, that's passing. That's you're not on the hot seat. Things are moving in the right direction. I don't think it is outlandish to put pressure on a coach to win 7 games with the roster the Panthers have, in the division the Panthers are in, and with the strides and the players returning from injury and the free agency money spent and the high draft pick added. Like, there's expectation that this team will be a decent amount better than the same team last season. And by the way, if you make that known, maybe Dan Morgan does go and sign a free safety in a corner. If he's like, wait, we got to win, or else hot. Okay, all right. If we're going for the wins, if that's the threshold, I got a few calls to make. Let me get some agents on the phone. And I don't think that's the end of the world. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close. Don't forget, text in BEEF to 919-860-5326 by 4 o'clock tomorrow for your chance to become one of our 10 finalists in our Win Your Weight in Meat competition, brought to you by the NC Beef Council. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thank you to Dennis for keeping us up and running. The Drive will be back at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season.